presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
The Rangers put together a complete effort last night. It started with Martin Perez, who was backed by a dynamic defense he certainly appreciated. The offense provided just enough thump for acknowledgement. And the bullpen posted a shutdown effort in snapping a nasty streak. Tonight, Andrew Cashner gets the call and looks to do justice in his final start of 2017. This is Rangers baseball presented by AT and welcome in on a Saturday evening here in Arlington. A beautiful night for baseball. Jared Hoying wants to tell everybody, hey, the A's are in town for the third game of this four-game series here at Globe Life Park, or some people like to call it the second middle game of this four-game series. Hello again, folks, and welcome in. I am Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nitkowski, and indeed we are ready to get this one started tonight. And it is that time of year with 2 games left. We started looking at some of the positives, some of the things that get you excited about next year. And one of those certainly has to be the play of Willie Calhoun.
It's been a lot of fun to watch Willie Calhoun so far, especially now that he's getting some consistent at-bats. He's back in the lineup again tonight and hitting second. But check out what he has done here so far, especially as of late. The 3 games now with more consistent playing time. He has gotten 6 for 10. The big home run, the first one of his career against Justin Verlander. Certainly a big moment for him. And then last night, some really impressive at-bats, especially against left-handed pitching where he went the other way. So we really got an opportunity to see the swing of Willie Calhoun, and so some things to get excited about as we start looking toward the future here a little bit with the Rangers.
All right, well, so that in mind, that's what we'll look for with some of the younger guys. Now, a guy who's a little bit more of a veteran, making his 28th start tonight for the Rangers, and that is Andrew Cashner, who really has been a bright spot this year.
It's been a great year for Andrew Cashner, a nice bounce back year compared to what he did last year. So he has been thrilled to be here with the Rangers and very happy with the year that he has put together. This will be, as you mentioned, his 28th start tonight. That is the most that he has had in a couple of years, go all the way back to 2015, and the ERA 3.42, doing that in the American League. That is his lowest since 2013. So it has been a very good run here for Andrew Cashner. The good fastball that we have seen from him all season long, you'll see it again tonight. Now, his last start was kind of a unique one. He only went 3 1/3. He allowed 8 runs, but only one of those runs was earned. That is just the second time since 2010 that we have seen a pitcher actually allow 8 runs or more, and either none or one were earned. So it was a really strange outing last time around for Andrew Cashner. He'll expect this one to be a little bit better.
Yeah, limited to 1 really bizarre inning for him in that one last time out. So last chance for him tonight. And as we kind of put a cap on this regular season, one of the guys we certainly want to spotlight is Robinson Chirinos. It has been an outstanding season for the Rangers backstop, especially since he took over the everyday duties for Jonathan Lucroy. He's in the spotlight when we come back. AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
The Rangers playing their penultimate game of the regular season on the final day of September. Still a lot of good times being had, despite the fact that this team will not go past 162 for the first time, or second time rather, since 2009. As we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. Still a lot to play for a lot of these guys in the final couple of games, and for some of them, the career years were had in 2017. Among those, Robinson Chirinos, who we find in our Shiner Box Spotlight this evening. Robinson really taking his game to another level, both at the plate and behind it. A career-high 17 home runs and an 886 OPS. He's had 41 starts since July 31st, that trade deadline, which is the 6th most among Major League catchers. Also behind the plate, taking his game to a whole new level, and his reputation and rapport with the starting rotation and the bullpen as well is unmatched. Pitchers to a man talk about how well he is able to work with his staff because of the work he puts in the video room. So Robinson Chirinos with an outstanding season here for these Texas Rangers guys.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. It has been a terrific year for him, and there have been a number of these bright spots this season, but I think there's no doubt that Robinson Chirinos, one of the brightest and most important for this team. You're looking at Elvis Andrus. I guess hard to say that with Elvis right there front and center, because his burst this year has been something that I don't think anybody could have anticipated.
No, definitely not. I mean, you talk about the season, and sure, it's been a disappointment overall, but there have been some guys that have had some very important years. Elvis Andrus is one of them. Emily talking about Robinson Chirinos having such a good year that the Rangers felt comfortable trading Jonathan Lucroy and really allowing Robinson Chirinos to take over the bulk of the innings behind home plate. That was certainly really important. The power year from Elvis has really stuck out with the 20 home runs that he has hit after he set a career high last year of just 8. So it has been a pretty incredible year for him all the way around.
I'll throw another one your way, and that is the good defense of that guy, Joey Gallo, at first base, especially on the wacky throws that he's had to take lately at first base.
Yeah, he has worked hard, no doubt about it, playing 3 different positions this year. But first base has certainly looked very good. And you're right, some of those throws that come up the line, always scary a little bit for a first baseman, because you want to get that tag in there, but you also want to get your hand out of there. We've seen lots of guys hurt their wrist on those plays, and Joey Gallo's done an excellent job on those as he's gaining more and more experience at first base. We talk a lot about his ability to stretch there, pick balls in the dirt. They're really good hands. He is a big man, but he is also a very good athlete.
Well, as we get ready to get this one started tonight, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Oakland A's. 74 wins, 86 losses. Marcus Semien and Matt Joyce up top. Jed Lowry and the very dangerous Chris Davis batting cleanup. The last 4 games even for Davis. You can always stretch his out. Healy, Chapman, Maxwell, Canna, and Smolinski rounding things out. And
they'll be going up against Andrew Cashner, the big right-hander. Let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Andrew Cashner. Lots of fastballs, 65% of the time. The bulk of those, 40% of those, are 2-seam fastballs from Andrew Cashner. You got the changeup, the cutter, and the curveball as well. The changeup's been a very good pitch for him, a .233 batting average against this year, but it is a pretty steady diet of fastballs from Andrew Cashner, one that at times we'll see 97 and even 98 miles per hour. The defense tonight behind Andrew Cashner, which is brought to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Willie Calhoun getting the start in left, Delino DeShields in center, and Jared Hoying getting a start in right. Drew Robinson back at third, Elvis Andrus at short, Ruben Odor at second, Joey Gallo, as you mentioned, at first, and Brett Nicholas will be catching Andrew Cashner this evening.
All right, and with that, we are ready to go. Marcus Semien makes his way to home plate. So hitless so far in this series. These 2 teams have split the first 2 games. They'll play tonight, and then tomorrow afternoon we'll wrap up not just this 4-game series, but the 2017 regular season for both these clubs. So Semien ready to go, and here comes Andrew Cashner with ball 1. And what do you know? I guess the odds were pretty high that it would be a fastball from Cashner, given what we just showed you. Good one, though, at 95 miles per hour. This one lined out to left field, but right to Willie Calhoun, and there is one away.
Willie Calhoun looking pretty good in left field, as he has so far this year, right? That certainly was going to be part of the conversation with him, how he looked in the outfield. A guy who is an infielder by trade, but he has adjusted very nicely to left field so far with the Rangers.
One out, and here is Matt Joyce. He's had a big year in the power category. This is the final year of a 2-year deal he signed with Oakland, or actually the first year, pardon me, of a 2-year deal. Signed it right at the end of last season. It's given them plenty to be happy with in season number 1. 1-1 the count from Cashner. Now, 1 hit so far in 6 tries in the series. He has struck out 3 times. And he takes low, 2-1. Done most of his work this year in right field, a couple of starts in left, even some time in center field. They have shifted outfielders all over the place, especially lately, with some injuries that have allowed Bob Melvin. One way to look at it, right, is that it's allowed Bob Melvin to play guys in different spots. The other way to look at that is that he has had to play guys in different spots to try and cover all that ground out there. Fly ball, left side, foul and out of play.
Well, it's certainly a good way to find out what you have, right? I mean, that's the thing. When injuries happen, you put a plan together as far as what you want your team to be, but then some guys go down, and so you start thinking about who could fill in, who the backups are, and then also wondering if there's guys that maybe look a little bit better out there than expected.
One hopper near second base. Andrews throws over to Gallo, and he corrals it.
Well, Elvis can laugh about that now, because Joey Gallo did a nice job of digging out that throw. Kind of a weird bounce here. Watch this ball. Looked like it was hit probably harder than it was. Sounded like it actually came off the end of the bat a little bit, and the bounce kind of threw Elvis off. Watch this kind of strange bounce, really high, but the great hands of Elvis Andrus. Now the throw was down in the dirt. Elvis threw that a little bit flat-footed, but a nice job by Joey Gallo. That was not an easy pick.
Well, it looked like Elvis was saying, you think that was easy, Joey? Here, you try. Right back at you. Here's Jed Lowry, and he shoots it foul out of play. Now Lowry, you can see 65 extra base hits. The number you don't see on that line for him there, and it is a good line all the way around. 48 doubles. 1-1 the count. And there you go. When you talk franchise history, going back to the old Philadelphia A's days at Shibe Park. 53 is the all-time record. Hall of Famer Al Simmons holds that record. And then second all-time, there he is, Jed Lowry.
It's been a great year for the veteran, one of the few veterans on this team, but he has certainly come up big. We mentioned it last night, and most certainly the A's will pick up a very inexpensive $6 million team option for Jed Lowry next year.
So how about, he has his big year. You saw the franchise record for the A's, going back to earlier iterations of this A's franchise, at 53 for the Hall of Famer. This high pop up near second, caught by Andrews, and even that would have been short of Jose Ramirez this year, who has 55 doubles. Anyway, Cashner with a nifty 1-2-3, top of the first.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we grab your attention to the video awards as
now, and time to take a look at our Southwest starting lineup. Delano DeShields and Willie Calhoun up top for the Rangers tonight. Andrews, Mazzara, and Gallo in the middle. Drew Robinson at third base. How about this? 10 of 22 hits this year have gone for extra bases. Nicholas, Rougned Odor, and Jared Hoying getting the start in right field today. Will bat ninth. Scoreless top of the first inning. And now Daniel Gossett ready to go here in the bottom of the first against Delano DeShields. And we should welcome in the hardest working man in show business. My goodness gracious. Pudge, how do you do it, man?
How I do it?
I mean, I just saw you on TV
I know,
a couple
I was
seconds
over there
ago.
in left field, now running over here, and now I'm with you guys.
This is not what retirement is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way, man. Take it easy.
No, it's good to be here, guys. Good to be here.
Well, and we understand you're not going to be here a whole lot longer, right? You taking off, you're heading back to Puerto Rico tomorrow?
Yes, last day today, and tomorrow we head into Puerto Rico. I'm going to be in Puerto Rico for a few days, and then I'm just going to continue work. You know, the things that I'm doing, just, you know, raising as much money I can just to continue getting all these helps to Puerto Rico, you know, this food and water and generators. I mean, everything that I can get is going to be great right now, because Puerto Rico is going through a tough time right now, and we need to stay with them.
How have the conversations gone with people that you've had or what you've heard firsthand? When we sit there, we watch the news, we read the newspaper. That's nothing compared to, I got to believe, some of the communication that you've been able to have.
Well, it's been tough. You know, as you know, the power's out. They're not going to have power for 6 months, the whole entire island. And just saying that's how difficult, you know, you can survive, you know, when you don't have power for 6 months. And on top of that, you know, the telephones and signal, just communication has been horrible. You know, unfortunately, I've been having contact with my mother, you know, constantly every day. She lives in the Metroplex, and I'm just able to talk to her a lot. But with my mom, you know, with my father, I haven't contacted him, you know, every once in a while. And it's been tough, you know, just, you know, the communication is not a good one. And when you don't have those things, comes with water too, and you know, the needs, and you know, people are getting desperate on getting food, getting water. There's no fuel in a lot of places, so the generators sometimes running out of fuel, and there's no power, so it's been tough.
You've been collecting a whole lot of supplies and stuff. I know there's a warehouse full of hundreds of thousands of pounds of supplies in Irving, and you're helping get that down there like this week?
Yeah. We already start, you know, sent some to Puerto Rico yesterday for 100,000 pounds left by water from Florida. You know, we collect over 3 million pounds already, so it's good, and all the help they have been receiving from, you know, from the people all over the U.S. has been tremendous.
1, 2, 3. Bottom of the first inning. Pudge, can you stay?
Yeah, stay here.
Pudge is going to stay with us. We'll be back with the second inning in just a moment. second. Chris Davis will start things off talking to Pudge Rodriguez, and you can see the websites right there. And would, of course, still appreciate all the help you can get right now, right, Pudge?
Absolutely. You know, again, this is not going to be 1 month, 2 months. You know, this is going to be years. You know, in Puerto Rico to get better. Of course, we're gonna be better, and Puerto Rico is going to come back, but it's going to take a long time. You know, and anything we can get, any help that we can get from anywhere, is going to be great for Puerto Rico. It's going to be great for the Caribbean islands as well, because we have to mention it too. You know what all these folks is going through. You know, Puerto Rico and the whole Caribbean island has been very tough.
And I got to believe for you too. I mean, you're super proud of who you are as a baseball player, obviously coming from Puerto Rico. But at a time like this, when you can lend your name to a cause and people love you, of course, as a baseball player, and love to help out and say, listen, Pudge is on board, we're on board. I got to believe that makes you feel pretty good to be able to lend your name to this.
That's it's been that way. You know, I'm glad that I'm doing my best. Obviously, I'm not the only one. A lot of retired players has been involved. Jorge Posada, a lot of singers, a lot of actors from Puerto Rico and singers are part of this work that we are doing in Puerto Rico, and so far it's been working. For example, Monday we are gonna go to Puerto Rico. Mark Anthony, Ricky Martin, myself, Grice, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, and some actors are gonna come, and we're gonna go in the same plane going to Puerto Rico. It's just to go there and support the people in Puerto Rico. Just try to get them smile and just put their minds in a different place. Just for us to go there and just sit down with them and talk and say, look, we're here for you guys. We're working for you guys. And all this is going to be for all of you guys. And basically, to be honest with you guys, that's what we're doing. We're doing it because we love Puerto Rico. We're doing this from our heart, and we're going to continue doing it.
Well, that'll be an infield hit for Healy, and he barely gets back. I told they got past Gallo, returned quickly, and
what a play that was right there. Rougned Odor almost made an unbelievable play. Then Joey Gallo with the stretch. We've seen Joey do a really nice job, and I'm sure you appreciate Brett Nicholas right there hustling
that was great
down the line. But check this out here. First Rougned Odor hard hit ball pops up, almost makes a great play. Look at the stretch by Joey. It's not easy to do. And then the good backup by Brett Nicholas. So great efforts all the way around by 3 Rangers. Unfortunately, though, it still turned into a base hit.
Now they have come back and scored that an error.
Oh,
it'll be an error on Rugi. But
that was a tough error.
That's a tough error, and some really interesting good efforts on the back end of that thing. And Chapman steps in now with a man on. I was going to ask you too, though, and we'll move on past some of the Puerto Rico efforts, although that has got to be top of mind for you right now. But guys like Alex Claudio and others down at the clubhouse who are no doubt concerned about their families and friends back home. I would imagine part of what you're going to do will be like a recon mission for them. Is this one tossed over second base? Looked like a near double play, but instead been on the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been talking to Alex Claudio. Again, he's been having some problems communicating with his family. He living in the south side of the islands in Puerto Rico, and that's what the hurricane came in. The eye of the hurricane came around right where Claudio's hometown is, and again, you're talking about the whole island has been destroyed. It's pretty much 95% of the whole island has been totally destroyed. So it has to be a total rebuild. That we got to go. We got to do in Puerto Rico, but at the same time, look, we got to stay strong. Claudio's strong. All the families, all these players are big supporters. You can see last series. Carlos Beltran. He showed his emotions about Puerto Rico, and we all the same. We love the island. We all Puerto Rico. Our hearts and prayers are, with them, and we're going to bounce back.
It's amazing. You talk about Alex Claudio, then we go out there and we watch him pitch, and on the outside you would never know. He's been the same guy from the beginning to the end of the year. Is it a relief for him almost maybe when he's in between the lines and he can forget about what's going on at home, or do you think he's taking that out there with him?
Well, see, yeah, it's not easy. Obviously, you thinking about it, but again, when you're in your work, when you're on your job, you got to put things on the side and focus on your job. I'm sure that's what Alex Claudio's been doing. He's having a tremendous year, and I'm sure that he's using, the baseball game just to put himself out of the problem in Puerto Rico. But what a year he's been doing. Jeff is using him, as a closer, as a middle reliever, as a lefty specialist, as right-handers especially too, because he got a lot of ground balls with right-hander hitters for double play. So I'm very pleased. He's been, he's over 70 appearances already for the year. Coming from the bullpen. I mentioned it in the pregame. He's my Cy Young for the year. As a pitcher from the Rangers.
Yeah, he has been great. What about that changeup, man? You haven't seen that changeup too often, right? From the side, it's sometimes 68, 69, 70 miles an hour. It's a fun pitch to watch. It's amazing what he can do with that velocity.
It's amazing because his arm angle, the way he's throwing it and the way that he moves. The pitch, it kind of like he threw it like a screwball. That's his changeup. It goes down, and then the fastball. He have a 84 to 86, sometimes 88 mile-an-hour fastball, and when you throw a 60-mile-an-hour changeup, that's unhittable. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's fun to watch. I love watching. I love watching it because in this day and age, right? All these guys are throwing unbelievably hard, and here comes Alex Claudio, like you mentioned. Maybe the fastball sitting at 86, but making some really good hitters look pretty dumb at times.
Absolutely, yeah. He's been great, and he's a strike thrower. He's not going to walk you. He's going to challenge the strike zone, and he's going to make you put the ball in play, and that's why he's having a great year.
Runner leaves from first. No throw from Nicholas. That's ball 4. So they're loaded. 2 errors and a walk this inning. I almost hate to reference the last start for Cashner, where he allowed 7 unearned runs in a bizarre inning in which a couple of errors were made behind him. Here he is again tonight with 2 errors made behind him, but at least to this point, no real harm done, at least in terms of runs scored. So Alex Claudio, we marvel at the pitch all the time, and what he has done, but I was wondering, when you were catching, was there anybody who had quite as funky a pitch or delivery or anything that you can remember when you were catching?
Well, I played with Doug Jones. He has pretty much the same type of screwball pitch, and that was one of those pitches that, to me, as a catcher, believe it or not, he threw that pitch so good that sometimes I had to put my knee down to try to catch the ball. So imagine me, I'm doing that behind the plate. Imagine as a hitter, because he's like he's similar to Alex Claudio, but from the right side. Throw 3/4, sinking, and then he got this, pitch that he using it all his career. He was pretty good with that pitch.
Yeah. And you faced the Trevor Hoffman changeup, I got to believe, a few times. That maybe was, would you say that's one of the best
Hoffman,
that you ever saw in your career?
His high leg kick and his arm motion when he threw that, that changeup was like unbelievable. He just really squeezed it down in his palm of the hand, and basically he let it go through here. It was good. It was a great pitchers in the game. They can, they can throw the ball, they could throw strike, they challenge you. They didn't, especially closers, back in our day, they just go in there and attack you and throw hard. Montgomery from Kansas City, guys that never throws hard, never throw 90 mile an hour, but he end out, saving 40 games because he throws strikes. Those guys love to use these 8 guys that he's seeing behind him and play catch with all of them.
Pudge Rodriguez, the Hall of Famer, by the way. I don't know have we even said it yet? The Hall of Famer. What a great moment this summer, and of course one of the highlights of the year for Rangers fans and for this entire season for all of us. And has it worn off yet, or is there still a little glow, still a little buzz?
It's still very busy. I call it good busy. It's changed. Everything is changed now. We got to go to appearance here or there. I've been already in a couple of events that a lot of the Hall of Famers are there. So it's good to be part of that group, and knowing that I'm gonna be part of that group and continue to do some more events. You know, I'm having another one coming up in New York, and just to put it this way, my schedule is gonna be full into the second week of December. So that tells you a little bit.
When do you take some Pudge time, man? When is it just about you?
Well, you know,
got to take a little, right?
Yeah, I always have time. I enjoy everything that I'm doing. Of course, you know, December and January, I'm gonna be home and relax with my family in Christmas. But at the same time, you know, everything that I've been doing now, I've been doing all this for Puerto Rico, which is, to me, that's the most important thing right now in my life, just to continue doing what I'm doing, helping these people, because I want to see Puerto Rico back. And it's going to take me some years, and I'm not going to stop.
The Rangers have stepped up today, too. We got a press release earlier this afternoon. They're contributing some money from tonight's game. I think it's the second time that they have done this, raised some money at the ballpark, day of the game, and we'll be passing some of that on as well. You know, the Hall of Fame stuff, though, Pudge, I think the best story I've heard you tell yet, and my favorite of it anyway, and I'm sure there are a million great moments, but your story of Johnny Bench sitting you down, basically say, no, you sit down with me for a minute and take in this moment. I love that.
Well, that was a great story for me too, because I never expect that he's going to do that to me. It was a ground ball. There we go.
All right, now a chance for two, and they got it. And Andrew Cashner was in a world of hurt, but he got out of it.
I stay and I tell you.
Yes, we got to get to the Johnny Bench story.
Best tease ever.
Inning and a half in. We'll be back with the bottom of the second in a moment. And it is our pleasure to be with the Hall of Famer, Pudge Rodriguez. Great to have him in the booth with us.
Thank you.
Tonight, you were just starting to tell us about the weekend at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And Johnny Bench tells you, hey, kid, stop for a second.
Yeah, he told me that. But before that, how happy I'm going to be if I see this kid getting his 100 RBI.
Yeah,
tonight and tomorrow. It'll be great. Anyway, you know, the story about Johnny was, you know, right after.
There's a base hit for Nomar.
All right. So that was after the ceremony. We went back to the hotel, and you know, doing the pictures. You know, all the Hall of Fame Hall of Famers. We got together and we took pictures right in the garden in the back, and we're supposed to have a Hall of Famer dinner in an hour. So we went down. All the families came in. We take a picture all together, and then when we went to the room, you know, in the balcony of the hotel, is in the second level, and I come up to the stairs, and Johnny was on the right in one of those rolling chairs you know, just waiting for me to come up. And he calls me and he said, Pudge, come over. So sit down right next to me and start moving yourself. And I'm going to tell you something. I want you to think about it for 2 minutes, but don't say anything. But listen what I'm just going to tell you. He said, do you know what you accomplished in your life? He said, well, this is amazing to be here, but listen to what I'm just going to tell you. Think about that you are right here with me in this second level, and you're looking right now to that lake in Cooperstown. Look how beautiful that thing it is. And knowing that you're going to be in this town for the rest of your life, how cool was that? And I'm looking at it and I said, wow, Johnny, that was gone.
That ball hit well to center field.
Gone.
Way out of here.
That's number 40.
Yeah, big smile on that face.
Wow.
40 home runs for Joey Gallo. And the Rangers lead 2-0.
That's good to see that.
For people that ever wonder if round numbers mean anything to players, that expression from Joey Gallo will tell you everything you need to know about how important hitting number 40 was to him. We have not seen that kind of expression, and Joey Gallo is the guy who is full of expressions. We have not seen that big of a smile after, and he has hit huge home runs this year.
You're looking at all of them in the dugout hugging him, and he's a good kid. Now you can say, I'm going to Vegas with a good smile because I hit 40 home runs in the big leagues. That's cool.
That is really neat. We talk about it sometimes, right? Oh, 39-40 doesn't make a difference. It absolutely makes a difference to a lot of these guys, just like you mentioned with Nomar wanting to get to RBI number 100. But we have seen this all year, and it has been fun to watch.
It is fun. I mean, he has tremendous talent, and I know that he's only hitting 208 for the season, but I don't think he's going to be there. He's, the more playing time that he's going to get in the big league, which is Jeff is doing a great job with him, that he's put it in the lineup every day, knowing if he strike out 4 times, he's there next day. So that tells you how good a player he is. And I'll tell you, next year he's going to come. His batting average, I can promise you this, batting average going up, and home run is going to be high.
That's really cool, man. That expression, that shot was awesome, wasn't it?
That was really fun.
We haven't seen really that level of expression from Joey Gallo, where he just had the realization that he hit 40 home runs in the major leagues. You know what it's like the years you don't make the postseason. Playing out these games usually isn't that fun, right? You're a little bit down. We're not going anywhere this year. Disappointed, right?
Yeah, it's a weekend that you know that is going to be the last weekend, and both things are played to reach 162 and then have a 4.5 months. But it's good to see these kind of things, when you have a player that have a milestone and do it, 40 home runs. You see all his teammates hugging him and laugh with him, sitting with him, and congratulate him in the dugout. And hopefully today, Nomar with his 100 RBI to do the same thing. Those things are, are good to see.
High fly ball to center field. This one won't carry, though.
Yeah, those things are good to see. And let me tell you guys, I think all this attitude is coming from the veteran guys, like guys like Edgar and Beltre, that he's there day in and day out with this young player, keeping them ready to play every day. And that's why I always say that I have so much respect for that guy, because these guys show it on the field, in the clubhouse, in the plane, in the hotels, on the road, everywhere. He is the leader of this team.
No question about that. That smile. His smile going in and around first base was something. And then it was about halfway to second base. His eyes closed for a second, and you could see relief wash over him, too. It's like, I got it. I got there, man. That was 40.
And almost a little bit of humility there, too. It seemed like you're reading on the face of Joey Gallo. That was really, really interesting and fun to watch.
I'm sure he's going to have thousands of text messages in his phone going on today.
It's been a while, Pudge, since this team has really had to think as hard as they're going to have to think this offseason about where they're going and how they're going to get there, right? And when you look at this team and you start to handicap, wait, where does Joey Gallo go? What are we going to do with Alex Claudio exactly? It's really quite a puzzle.
Well, yeah, these kids are going to have the opportunity again next year. I'm talking about Gallo. Gallo is our future in our organization. Odor, Mazzara, Claudio, those guys are, trust me, are going to be they're going to be in this ball club for for a long time to come. I'm very pleased, to be honest with you, even though that we are not making the playoff this year. But I'm very pleased with the way the Rangers are playing this year. You know, we have some guys that play hurt all year round and keep battling and play it every day, like especially this kid right here, you know, playing hurt pretty much all year, his leg, hamstring, and he's still in the lineup every day. So that tells you how good of a team we have, even though that we don't make it this year. But going forward for the next year, we are going to have a good team on the field.
And the thing that I keep talking about, I think people forget how young these guys are, man. I know obviously you were in the big leagues at a young age, but to sit there and to be able to have a couple of 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds right now giving some really good at-bats and having some impact, guys that are under control, that certainly is important to the front office. That is extremely encouraging, and everyone seems to be getting better, and I think we believe
better and better and better and better. Especially, look, we just mentioned Nomar Mazara, 22 years old, and the way that this kid takes his approach with men in scoring position. He's a guy that used all the field, you know, facing left-hander, right-hander. He doesn't do too much. He has 20 home runs, but 99 RBI. That tells you what. What's the reason for that? Is because he doesn't look for home runs when the guy's in scoring position. You just look to put the ball in play, using the holes, using the gap, and that's why he's 99, 1 RBI away from 100. And it's impressive. It's impressive to see a 22-year-old doing that day in and day out.
0-2 the count on Jared Hoying.
Also another guy that I can tell you is Odor. I mean, I think, you know, his power numbers there, RBIs are there, but I think what I like to see him next year is just try to hit the ball the other way a little more. I think he can be a 300 hitter in this league because he's a great hitter. But I think those are the things that he needs to work. Just stay more inside of the ball, let the ball travel a little bit, and use the other side of the field. I believe that he can hit home runs the other way too. He's strong enough to hit balls out of the park left field. But I think in the offseason, those are the things that he needs to do so his batting average can be up.
So you make an interesting point talking about Rougned Odor real quick. You believe he can do it, right? You believe he's strong enough. Can he believe it? Because that's the tougher part, right? Is it possible for him to believe in the fact that he can hit the ball the other way and do it power?
I think he believed that, but at the same time, he's young and he needs to learn that. I think the more games that he plays, the more year that he's in the league, he's going to realize that, hey, it's another part of the field that I can use. It's not one side only. Right now, he's playing and he's hitting one side of the field only. Why? Because he has 30 home runs and he can hit home runs. But I think when he learned that he can hit balls, you know, home run the other way, I think his batting average is going to be better.
Hoying serves that one into the left field corner. It gets Odor to the plate. Hoying with the RBI double, and it's 3-0 Rangers. Back-to-back two-out doubles.
Well, Jared Hoying now getting in on the act, getting an opportunity to start here, and that is a pretty good pitch. Fastball down and away. You see how quiet the swing is, head down on the bat, lines that ball to left field. Rougned Odor scoring easily. That's something that stuck out to me yesterday as well, Pudge. We saw it from Nomar Mazara, Willie Calhoun, lefties. We mentioned Odor, hoping that he can get there. But when you see young hitters going the other way, it sticks out.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, I love it. I was a fan of it. You know, I used the other field pretty much my whole career, and I was, you know, very good doing it. You know, when
you did all right for yourself.
When you stay inside out of the ball and you let the ball travel a little bit towards you, you're going to see, better pitches. I always, say, look, guys, don't be afraid to get jammed. You know, it's more chances that when you get jammed, you're going to get more hits than go and reach for the ball and hit the ball in front. I mean, to me, you can get more hits doing that. And if the bat broke, hey, you have more bats in the club that you can use. But I think that is a mentality that these guys need to work in the offseason and say, look, I want to wait for the ball. I want to let the ball travel a little bit to me, and I want to stay inside of it. And when that happens, all these guys are going to become a great hitter. They already are. But I think those are the little things that when they get older, they learn that they're going to be great.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Think about from the pitcher side, guys like yourself, Juan Gonzalez, right, so good at driving the ball the other way.
Yeah.
Those are the guys you hate facing.
Absolutely.
Like if you're a dead pull power, yeah, okay, there's a spot that I know as a pitcher, opposing pitchers, that they can go to get you. You do that as a catcher, right?
Yeah,
down and away, sweep the breaking ball, whatever it is. But as soon as that guy starts showing power or the ability to drive the ball the other way and is not afraid to do it, that's when it gets really hard to get that guy out.
Exactly. That is the key. I mean, just stay inside out and stay inside of the ball. For example, the other day when Correa was here, he hit a home run, hit a double to left field. But if you see those pitches that Cole Hamels threw it to him, if he missed that ball, he might probably end up hitting in his chest. But he kept it fair and hit a double. The next day, same way. He threw another, Chirinos caught another fastball inside. He hit a home run, but what he did, he stayed inside of the ball very well, keeping his hands in. And when you do that, you're going to keep those balls fair. Because when you look for the balls inside and you pull it, you have more tendency to hook and go foul. They stay inside out. I mean, Jeter, for example, those guys are unbelievable. They throw balls inside, and sometimes we say, how can this guy hit this ball, you know, off the wall, right center, inside out? It's because, you know, the way that he can stay inside and use his hands.
And DeShields with an RBI single to left field. And now a 4-0 Rangers lead. This team finding a groove here in the second inning.
Delino DeShields showing some frustration after his first at-bat and last night, but does an excellent job lining this ball to left field, and the Rangers continue to keep the line moving. And you look at the guys that are getting it done this inning, a lot of young hitters.
Keep it going.
Another one
Keep
right
it
here
going.
now,
Don't stop.
Willie Calhoun.
Keep it going. Don't stop.
Now Willie Calhoun 0 for 1. But a guy 6 for his last 10, the last 3 games, and as he's gotten regular playing time here for the last couple of days, boy, he has really been locked in. Another really good-looking young player, but you know the whole thing on Odor, right? And it is a topic of conversation for everybody. And I love what you're saying, right? I love the idea. Lord knows we'd like to see a lot of guys be able to use the whole field a little bit more. This guy does it well, and then Mazara does it well. It seems that there's always fear, though, with young players that they would give up power. But I wonder if you told him, like, hey, forget 30, let's go for 25. And hit 270.
It's not fair. It's not. I don't think that is the right way to. They can think about it. They're going to have 600 times that they can get home runs out of the ballpark. I mean, this is how they need to think about baseball. They play every day for 162 days. They're going to have 600 at bats. Anyway, if you end up with 200 hit, you're still going to be 400 times out. So basically, it's more fail than produce.
Sure.
But out of those 200 base hits that you're going to have for that year, which is an MVP, and home runs and RBI is going to be included, you need to stay inside of the ball and be able to hit 333, you know, for the year. So that's a heck of a year.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, and I think that is the way that they need to think about playing this game of baseball. You know, it's 162 games. It's a grind sport. Is every day, but as long as you physically and mentally you're ready to play and produce and take one at bat at a time, don't think about the 4 at bats, think about first, second, and third. They're going to be fine.
There it goes, the throw down to second, and that's ball 4. That's twice now.
They got me on that too.
Bottom half of the inning. Delino with that great jump, but he could have walked over there. And that is going to be it. Already, Bob Melvin signaling to the bullpen. Hey, Pudge, thank you so much, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was a marathon session. You're the best, man. Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
We're not afraid to wear you out. But listen, man. Listen,
anytime.
We know you need your rest because you've got work to do in Puerto Rico leaving tomorrow morning. And that is awesome what you've been doing there as well. And for folks wanting to help out, there's the website. Help them out. Let's get these people some help down in Puerto Rico.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And Simone Castro now has come on here in relief.
And here you'll see the numbers for Castro. We saw him last night. 26th game now on the year. 33 strikeouts to his 13 walks. Certainly for Bob Melvin, not so happy to be in the bullpen this early. Take a look at what Castro has. 94-mile-an-hour fastball, the 84-mile-an-hour slider. And he's also got a changeup, and we saw a bunch of those tonight. Firm one, too. That'll sit around 88, 89 miles an hour, but what he uses against those left-handed hitters. And he's feeling the groove a little bit as he's walking around the mound. A little head bobbing, getting in the mood. I guess he likes Elvis Andrus' walk-up music.
Well, here is Andrus with 2 men on in front of him, 2 out. Andrus, the 9th hitter of the inning, so a very productive second inning here for the Rangers. And Castro fires one right in there for a strike. Five hits in the inning, 1 walk. Castro with that very high set, and now a bouncer left side of the infield. And Chapman able to make the routine play to end the inning. But what an inning it was. Joey Gallo got to that mark, number 40, and it was no doubt about it, to center field. A lot of happiness and a little relief for Joey. Cashner now with some run support, and he'll go after Smolinski with a breaking ball. Smolinski, 9th place hitter, and then gives way back to the top of the order for the A's. Cashner got a big double play last inning to get him out of a bases loaded jam.
It's amazing how quickly that turned, right? The inning not looking so great for the Rangers in the top of the second. Bases loaded, 1 out. Cashner gets the big double play, and then the Rangers put 4 on the board.
Now Robinson can't handle that ground ball down at third base, and Smolinski is on to start the 3rd inning. That will likely be the 3rd error. That's a hit? How is that a base hit? Okay. Anyway, that's a base hit.
They've all kind of they got a little bit backwards here, and this ball was hit right to Drew Robinson's right, but that is absolutely a routine ground ball for a big league third baseman. I hopped up on him, caught him on the heel. It's going to happen. Guys are going to make errors, not something you're going to beat up Drew Robinson for. It happens, but the fact that that was ruled a hit, and you're kind of punishing Andrew Cashner for that play. Now, I thought the one with Ruben Odor was a little tougher. That was ruled an error. I thought that play was much more difficult than the one that Drew Robinson just had to deal with.
The odds that that stays a hit through the 5th inning tonight is pretty minimal. There's a base hit. That one into center field for Semien. And no matter how you score it, the first 2 men are aboard in this 3rd inning. Show your spirit year-round. Stock up on Rangers gear at our team stores. You can visit the Rangers team store in Fort Worth at Sundance Square or the majestic Grand Slam gift shop inside Globe Life Park. See hours and store info at texasrangers.com/retail.
So you know obviously that I use pen or markers, multiple colors. I'm not writing anything in there right now. I'm leaving it blank. I'll give it to the 5th inning.
Well, that's showing me at least to, that's adapting to what has previously been a problem for you, which is putting something down in ink
right away.
That has to be changed
right away. It took 161 games, but I really am starting to see some growth in myself.
Living example of the game of adjustments that is baseball. This ball hit high in the air, short center field. The shield's coming on. And there is one away. All right, let's take a look at our Kubota power stats tonight on Andrew Cashner. Cashner's been very good this year. How about a 270 earned run average here at Globe Life Park? 8th best home ERA in the American League among guys who have started at least 10 games.
So that part, maybe a little bit of a selling point this offseason. Andrew Cashner is a free agent, of course. That kind of worked pretty well with Carlos Gomez, who was very comfortable hitting here at Globe Life Park, and he comes back on a 1-year deal. Now Andrew Cashner, I believe, will most likely command more than a 1-year deal in the open market, but it's good to see that he's pitched well here. Maybe that'll be part of that comfort factor where if he feels like he really likes it here with the Texas Rangers, that'll give them a little bit of an edge. I think he'd be a really nice fit here in this rotation next season.
A little high that time, 2-0 to Jed Lowry.
See what Andrew Cashner has done without runners on base. 282, but after they get on in all situations, he really dials it up. 176 with runners in scoring position.
Semien there at first base. Smolinski off in the distance there at second. They've had base runners early in this one. This is the 5th 3-ball count for Cashner, and he finds a corner. Strike 1 to Jed Lowry, a switch hitter batting at the left side. And we talked earlier about Lowry and a very good season he has had offensively. And he is a bat first middle infielder. Came up as a shortstop, has since transitioned to second base. And hits this ball on the ground to second. Odor goes to second 1, and Andrews back to first. And another big double play for Andrew Cashner. Inning is over. A's leave another man. And we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers up by 4.
Red Sox, we go to the final out. Craig Kimbrell getting George Springer swinging, and the Red Sox beat the Astros and clinch the AL East crown, their 9th division title in franchise history. These two will meet again soon. They'll play in the division series starting on Thursday. Dave, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. And that's 2 in a row now. Boston has finally slowed down the red-hot Houston Astros. And, of course, they get that little bump from clinching the division, doing it at home, doing it against a team they are going to see next week in the division series as well. I think that's a really interesting moment. This one a little bit inside on Mazzara. 1-1 the count. And you see the best record battle right now going on between the Astros and the Indians.
So it's over.
Well, I guess it is over, right? Yeah.
The Astros have one more game left. They can only tie the Indians at 101. Excuse me. And so because of that tiebreaker, the Cleveland Indians have home field advantage throughout the postseason.
So it's done. So yeah, it'll be Boston and Houston.
Weird to kind of finish off the season with a 4-game series against a team that you're going to play in the first round of the postseason. That's kind of interesting. So I mean, potentially 9 straight games against the same opponent. It's like what the old World Series did. They used to do best of 9 back in the day.
That. Swing and a miss, and Mazzara strikes out to start the 3rd inning. There you go. Time to fill out your bracket, CJ. You probably do one of these at home.
I was asked already to print them up. My little guy said, "Dad, can you print these up?" We love brackets in our country, and it's certainly a lot of fun to watch. The Colorado Rockies going up against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yankees Twins wild card will certainly be a good one, and boy, if the Yankees advance like everybody thinks they will, what a great set of series that we are going to have in the postseason once again this year. But anything can happen in a wild card game. Not to overlook the Twins.
Nope.
I mean, they probably enjoy everybody overlooking them like they pretty much have had the entire season.
I'm sure the Rockies do too. Rockies would be the afterthought in the National League. They clinched today. Diamondbacks announced that they will throw Zach Greinke in the wild card game against the Rockies. Of course, those two have already seen one another 19 times during the regular season.
How great does that work out for the Rockies or excuse me, for the Diamondbacks, that they can throw Zach Greinke in game 1. They have a legitimate ace. If they win that game, they get the Los Angeles Dodgers, which means they can throw Robbie Ray in game 1, the lefty with the high strikeout total. The Dodgers are better against lefties this year, but still not great against lefties, and so that works out well if he has to pitch twice potentially in that series. Now we're looking ahead, of course, past the fact that they have to beat the Rockies, but a lot of cool storylines that'll be coming here in the postseason.
1-2 up and in on Gallo.
By the way, a little side note, so the Rangers have turned 2 double plays so far this season. Now that puts them tied for the league lead with the San Diego Padres. The Padres came in up by 2. They are already finished their game. They did not turn any double plays today. So it is 154 ground ball double plays that the Texas Rangers have turned this season. That is tied for the most in Major League Baseball. With 1 day to go, still some time to add on in tonight's game, and I think it's a point of pride certainly for the coaching staff here and these players. Yeesh.
This ball hit a ton to right field. Wow! Number 41 for Joey Gallo. Are you kidding me?
Well, maybe he was feeling a little tense about number 40. Help him relax a little bit and go ahead and get yourself some launch angle as Joey Gallo hit that thing almost straight in the air. I thought we had a chance at the roof, but he hit a little too high. And boy, that was fun to watch for Joey Gallo. My goodness, that was a bomb. Look at this thing sitting in the middle of the plate, 88 miles an hour. I had talked about the changeup from Castro and how he likes to use it to lefties, but you cannot throw it right down the middle. That beautiful swing from Joey Gallo, so well balanced. But my goodness.
I think
I take that back. That was a spinning slider.
It's out of the frame. There it comes.
That is incredible. What an absolute bomb. I thought that was a changeup. That was a slider. We call that a cement mixer. It just sits there and spins like the back of a cement truck. It doesn't do anything.
Goodness gracious.
You know, we keep track of everything in Major League Baseball. There's Joey Gallo, now third in the American League with his 41 home runs. We got the launch angle. We got everything else that goes on. After listening to that one, maybe decibels off the bat.
I'd love that.
I'd like to get that one because that was loud.
3-1 now to Drew Robinson, who, by the way, followed the Gallo home run last inning with a deep fly ball to center field. And he just missed hitting one out. He'll draw the walk this time. Let's hear that one again.
He knew. There's that side swing again. Such great balance. Look at how his head sits still. Just absolutely pummeled that baseball.
Put it up somewhere. No way.
That is fantastic. Hey, we got a ball. I thought you said you were sitting in the upper deck.
Yeah. Cholula, all you can eat up here? Yeah. They deliver. Baseball's like 500 feet. Nicholas takes ball one. So that's a fourth career multi-homer game for Joey Gallo. All of them have happened here. Man alive.
Yeah, again, based on his expression after he hit number 40, there seemed to be some relief there. Very excited, big smile. 41, business as usual that we've seen from Joey Gallo. Just nice and relaxed. Hammers the baseball. It was very cool to kind of watch all of that so far here tonight.
One out. And a man on in front of Nicholas. A little throw over there on Robinson. Robinson, who talked a good bit this year about his good bat and some of the power that he brings, but Robinson can run a little bit as well. He hasn't had much of an opportunity up here at the big league level. You see, that's a pretty nice lead. So I'll draw a little more interest. Nicholas, meanwhile, lined out in the second inning. He shot one out there into left field. And now asks for time. (5-0) Rangers lead. And a foul tip. It's 1-1. Another start today for Nicholas on what is another spectacular late September evening. This is the last day of September, and it is a beauty. Temperatures in the 70s. Again, Robinson has to dive back safely there to first. Last year, Robinson stole 17 bases at Round Rock. The year before, stole 16 bases in his time at both Frisco and Round Rock. A little late season call up to Round Rock. Fouled away. The count 1-2 on Nicholas. So the Rangers got 4 runs in the second inning. They've added another one here in the third. 5 runs on 6 hits. They've made 2 errors. While Oakland has been held scoreless on 2 hits, no errors. They've hit into 2 double plays, and there's a big swing and a miss by Nicholas. 2 away here in the third.
The second baseman, Rougned Odor.
That brings up Rougned Odor. Interesting talking to Pudge last inning.
That was great, wasn't it?
His thoughts on Odor, yeah.
Loved listening to him talk about Rougned Odor, and you know, some guys, especially Hall of Fame level players, you know, listen, they've had great careers. They like watching the game, maybe talking about it a little bit. But you can tell that Pudge is paying really close attention, really digging in on each one of these guys. He has opinions that are not, you know, kind of sort of thought out. Like, he has put some time into what he has seen from all of these young hitters, and some pretty interesting opinions. But you're right. It was fascinating to hear him talk about how he believes that Rougned Odor has the strength to drive the ball the other way, not just hit it, base hit once in a while, a little flare here and there, but also trusting that you can hit that ball in, go ahead and break a few bats. I thought that was very interesting. I'd never heard that before, because that's the point of pride that gets in the way for a lot of these hitters. Is you don't want getting beat by a pitcher swinging and missing is one thing. When he gets in your kitchen, breaks your tool, you know what I mean? That bugs you a little bit.
This ball ripped down the right field line, but foul. He also talked about pulling balls and hooking them foul.
And that's part of it. He's absolutely right. So if you're dead pull on pitches that are middle, or you're trying to pull the pitch away, you're going to hook that baseball, right? It's going to have that hooking action. You're always so impressed when you see a pitch that is pretty well located in and the guy is able to keep it fair. And as a pitcher, you know which guys can keep their hands in and which can't. So using this example right now with Castro as a righty, he knows he can go in there, and even if Rugi hits it hard, if it's in off the plate, it's probably going to be foul because of the way that he has a tendency to hook the baseball. So the idea of encouraging him to believe in himself that he can drive the ball the other way, it's okay to break some bats, I thought was pretty fascinating.
Robinson running, and he is out easily at second base. Caught stealing, 2-6. And the inning is done, but Joey Gallo did it again. Gallo with a massive home run, his second of the night. 5-0 Rangers.
Time for the Ford game summary. Let's take a look at some of the defense here from the Texas Rangers. I had mentioned how Andrew Cashner got himself a couple of double plays. Well, it's a couple of 4-6-3s, and we are certainly used to seeing that from this Texas Rangers defense as Elvis Andrus and Rougned Odor do it once again. Andrew Cashner making some big pitches in big situations.
Gallo with the home runs, 41 now for the year. Our game summary, couple double plays, very key in this one. This ball ripped into left field. Davis with that hot bat against the Rangers. He's going for two. The throw will be high, and Davis in there with a double. We're testing the arm of Willie Calhoun, and Chris Davis, you know, we talked so much about the home runs the last couple of years. Lately he's been piling up the hits of all shapes and sizes. That's going to go as a single and an error on Calhoun.
Let's take a look at this as this ball was hit to Willie's right. He goes down and can't field it cleanly. It's not an easy play, though. I mean, listen, I keep complaining about the scorekeeping, probably not what we want to be doing, but you know, he's running there, doesn't quite get it cleanly. Now what you look for in those spots is whether or not Chris Davis hesitated at all around first, and so that little hesitation is going to get you that error called.
Yeah, it's funny because it looked to me like he was going to stop with a single, and then he took off, and I thought, well.
Yeah, so watch Chris Davis here, because he came out of the box pretty hard, slows down a little bit, and he sees the bobble, and then that's when he takes off. And that's good base running right there. A lot of guys, you swing, you hit something, okay, it looks like it's going to be a single, and then kind of get a little lazy and maybe pull up. But you always want to be thinking a base ahead in case something like that happens.
Fly ball, right field. Hoying gathers it up. And Davis will move to third base. So one away. Hey, don't miss a minute of the action in 2018. Just go to TexasRangers.com/seasons to place your deposit for 2018 season tickets. They'll guarantee the best seats at the best prices. Again, it's TexasRangers.com/seasons to place your deposit today. So one out, and here is Matt Chapman. Well, Cashner's gotten big ground balls when needed. We haven't seen him yet dig deep for a strikeout when needed, and this is one of those spots where certainly he could use a strikeout. Chapman 0 for 1 so far. 234 hitter, and Chapman not a real big strikeout guy. Lifts this one high in the air back of first base. A short pop-up will do the trick. Gallo wants it, and he takes it. And there's that arm. What a beauty.
Well, Joey Gallo feeling pretty good right now with a couple of home runs and showing off the hose, maybe unnecessarily, as the throw went up the line a little bit and could be a little bit dangerous because Andrew Cashner was not in a position to back that throw up. He probably started going toward first. Now, a couple of things here. It's a good play by Joey, and here's the arm showing it off. But that is actually Rougned Odor's ball. Whenever that first baseman is going back, you always want the second baseman to take that. He's got a much better angle to that ball. Now, no harm, no foul, and they get the out. Nobody advances. But generally, you actually want Rougned Odor to take that. Any of these infielders can make that throw. It's not a long one, but that's a much tougher catch for Joey than it is for Rougned.
Well, 2 gone. And now here is Bruce Maxwell. One and one the count. Maxwell walked in the second inning. Chris Davis with a single, the error. Moved up on the fly ball. He's only 90 feet away.
It's kind of interesting looking at Bruce Maxwell as far as his ability to work counts.
Ground ball first base. Gallo will take it to the bag. That doesn't interest me. I'm going to go break. 5-0 Rangers. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, great start to this one. 5-0 Rangers. As we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Hey, tomorrow we're celebrating you with Fan Appreciation Day. want to show the best fans in baseball how grateful we are to have you. The Rangers and A's 2:05 for the final game of the regular season. Please come on out to the ballpark. Log on to TexasRangers.com to purchase your tickets for Fan Appreciation Day. Or just come out to the box office tomorrow. I bet it's going to be a really nice day. And I can tell you this much. It's always a fun day. There's a ton of giveaways, a lot of contests, and it's just a good time. Say goodbye to baseball for the regular season in 2017. And here's Chris Smith, third pitcher of the night. Castro's outing, not a real long one. Castro went an inning and a third in relief.
Here are the season numbers for Smith's 14th game of the year. He has taken 4 losses in his 13 games. Not a guy that throws hard at all. Average fastball just 85 miles an hour. He's got a curveball at 77 and a changeup at 75. That first pitch that we saw there was a fastball at 86, and very unusual.
Ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit to start this bottom of the 4th inning. So Odor is on. And let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, we are here with a true public servant. This is Deputy Bill Harden. They used to call him Wild Bill, but now he's just Bill. And you were part of the first police academy in Fort Worth in 1947. Is that right?
Lasted 2 weeks.
Lasted 2
8
weeks.
months.
Now it's 8 months. But you got all you needed in those 2 weeks. 70 years later, you are still a member of the law enforcement community, a deputy with Johnson County. Why have you stayed in it all these years?
I just haven't found anything better to do.
You threw out the first pitch tonight. What was that like for you?
Well, I hadn't thrown a ball for 65 years, so I think I rolled it, but I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? I think you held up quite nicely. And I think you're doing pretty good for 94 years old. And we appreciate your 70 years of public service, sir.
When I went to work, they gave me a cap shield, a badge, a call box key, and a plastic whistle. I had to buy everything, $165 a month.
That was a lot of money back then.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah?
6 days a week.
There you go. And you did good on the cowboy hat, too, I must say.
I'm sorry.
I said you looked good in the cowboy hat, too,
Thank
I must
you.
say. Made a good choice there. All right, guys, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Emily. That is awesome.
94.
I go back to what we discovered earlier on this homestand. Rangers baseball is good for your health.
That's a good point.
We've seen a lot of these, and I think it's pretty obvious the correlation to be drawn. Well, that is terrific. 70 years of public service as well. We take our caps off and salute. That is awesome. Here is Delano DeShields now with 1 out. Odor opened the inning with a base hit, Hoying the strikeout. And so Smith, wasting no time with these combatants, does not throw hard.
It's unusual to see that kind of velocity and not have a different arm angle. We were talking about Alex earlier with Pudge Rodriguez, and you see some lower velocities, but it's usually from a knuckleballer or a sidearm pitcher. Maybe a lefty once in a while. Sometimes we'll get some lefties in there that have traditional arm angles and don't have great velocity, but this is very unusual to see a right-hander come over the top, throw 85 to 87 miles an hour.
It was 0-2 to DeShields. That didn't miss by much.
Pretty good
1
pitch.
ball and 2 strikes.
And as much as we talk about the high velocities, radar gun tells one story, but then what it actually looks like to the hitter coming in tells a different one. That's where spin rate really comes into play. A high spin rate, a fastball will jump on you a little bit quicker, and it does look like Smith has a pretty good angle coming in, keeps the ball down. He's got some lefty movements to him, doesn't he? He's got like the lefty fidgety thing going.
I mean, I'm a little concerned watching him. There was a lot of ticks going on right there. Have to make coffee nervous. In fact, I'm starting to get a little suspicious. We've been interviewing police officers and whatnot, and I didn't know any better.
A lot of movement going on. Can't sit still. Good luck trying to shoot that glove.
I don't believe a word this guy says.
What's that saying in his glove there? Rick something.
Inside, throw down to second base, and Odor is in there with a stolen base. And Farouk, not a round number, but number 15.
Well, good jump here by Rougned Odor. Maxwell's done a very nice job throwing this season. He came into tonight having thrown out 15 potential base stealers, 26% of the time. But Rougned Odor got a nice jump. Gets in there safely, now in scoring position with one out here for Delino.
The Shields lines this one out to left field, but right to Canna, and there are two away. Hey, the Dallas Stars dropped the puck Friday night, and we're getting you ready for hockey season with classic games all next week. See some of the most memorable games from the Stars' history, including the 1999 Stanley Cup. Join us starting Monday and celebrate the Stars' 25 years in Dallas, only on Fox Sports Southwest.
That's some new promo music. Sweet.
Pretty wild stuff right there. Guitar solo. I've heard that all year. Here's Willie Calhoun. Now, you played the drums, is that right, growing up?
I did.
Okay.
Not well, but I did. A little high school band. Good times.
Oh, you were. Now wait a minute. Were you in the high school band?
No.
Or
no,
you
no.
had a band?
I was in a band in high school.
Oh, what were you guys called?
I'm not gonna say it.
Come on. Come on.
I'm not doing it. Give you an inning.
Oh man, did you have a mullet?
You didn't make fun of me about how you weren't interested in Bruce Maxwell's pitches per plate appearances earlier. I know.
I legitimately was disinterested in that. I am totally fascinated with your band, though.
Oh boy.
Did you guys cut a record?
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that I'm rooting for Willie Calhoun to make it out to this inning. No, I never would. No, of course not. It was total fun. It was an absolute blast. I was terrible. The rest of the members knew what they were doing. Pretty good guitar player.
But you made a lot of noise on the drums.
A lot of racket.
Right.
You know, I playing in the basement, unfinished basement where I grew up in suburbs of New York, and my parents were somewhat tolerant of what happened down there. I don't know if I would be, quite honestly, listening to that racket, but it was a blast, man. It was so much fun. Played the Battle of the Bands at the high school. That was a good time. Absolutely. We got into all of that. I don't know if we won or not.
Any original music, or did you guys just cover stuff?
Well, you had listen, the guys that I played with, they were smart. They knew what they were doing. They knew how to write music. I was just there. I was basically a placeholder until they could get somebody better to kind of help out. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
Was there a drum solo in any of the?
No, they knew better than that.
Oh, you never got a drum solo
we
out
didn't.
of all that?
Nobody wanted to hear that.
Okay. Look back at second. Calhoun lifts it into short center field. And that will do the inning. Dadgummit. I wanted to get to the name of that band.
Nemesis was the name of the band.
Nemesis?
Oh, baby, and we crushed it.
That's so perfect. Coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. And yeah, today, a big postseason update for you. The Red Sox, they clinched the American League East and will play Houston in the division series. And the Rockies, at last, have clinched that final wild card spot in the National League. They will play Arizona in the wild card game. And as we mentioned, Zach Greinke announced as the starter for the Diamondbacks. Not sure who the Rockies are going to go with necessarily. Diamondbacks had the luxury of being able to set that up these last handful of games. At a big enough lead, clinched early enough as Mark Canha starts his 5th inning.
Yeah, for anybody that was kind of dreaming for some late season chaos and some potential game 163s, that would have meant that the Yankees had went out and the Red Sox would have had to lose their last 2. That didn't happen, and I wasn't really in favor of seeing that anyway. As much as those games are fun, I really would have put either team at a huge disadvantage. Whoever had to go to the wild card and then maybe potentially win that wild card game, you would have spent a lot of pitching trying to get to the DS. So, and there was a chance that it could have happened as well with the Colorado Rockies for the second wild card with the Milwaukee Brewers, but that doesn't happen either. But think about how early the conversation would have ended as far as if there was no second wild card, right? How early things would have been locked up in the postseason this year. I love the second wild card. I think it's great for the game, keeps more fan bases interested, have a chance to play for something. I think that's been an idea that has been well received and has worked out really well for baseball.
Well, I, for one, I was rooting for chaos. I'm always rooting for chaos.
I think that was Nemesis's first album.
Did you guys have a funny spelling or
no?
Nothing like that. Bouncer left side of the infield. Andrews with the long throw. And Canha retired to start the 5th inning. All right, here to restore a little order to the show, we welcome in once again Emily Jones.
Progressive fan of the game time, and it is none other than 3-year-old Cole Hunt, who is here all the way from New York for his first Ranger game. Cole, are you having a good time? Can you tell me the score to the game?
5-0.
5-0, and who's winning?
Texas.
Yes, and is that a good thing?
Yep.
Yep, that's all I needed to hear. Progressive fan of the game for you, young man. Way to go.
Oh, man. That guy's awesome. Way to go. Cole.
He is on it, knew the score.
Yep.
Not always the case here in the booth. We could probably use Cole's help up here.
That kid still has promise. That's why we like him. Smolinski takes a strike, 1-1 the count. Smolinski reached on an infield hit in the 3rd inning, and I sort of challenged, I guess, the baseball universe in saying that there's no chance that that will still be a base hit by the time we get to the middle innings. And well, here we are, and it has not been changed. And now a little tapper back to the mound, and he is the 2nd out of the inning.
I still have my scorecard blank in that area. Holding out hope.
I like it. Principled, among many other things. Hey, there's no better group experience in DFW than an outing with the Texas Rangers. Groups of 20 or more can enjoy significant savings in the 2018 season. Just go to texasrangers.com/groups to learn more about our group offerings and place your 2018 group deposit today. Top of the order now, and Marcus Semien yanks one foul for a strike.
Now that'll go down as an error for sure. I got to believe down the line.
Well, I don't know if that one will be recorded in any real appreciable way. But I mean, you can certainly put the error on the poor thing. Semien lifts this one high in the air out into short right field. Gallo wants it again, and he will take it. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. Just 10 pitches needed for Andrew Cashner. Halfway there tonight, 5-0 Rangers. about this? 6 different players this year have tied or set new career highs in home runs, and you had to have a minimum of 5 home runs this year for it to count in our unofficial little tally. But 6 different Rangers
It's
with
amazing.
new career highs.
It's been amazing to watch. Elvis's year especially set a career high last year with 8. Comes back this year with 20. If he can get one more, that would actually equal his previous 4 years total, 21 home runs. That would be kind of neat to see. It's been a great year overall, but the power has been fun to watch from Elvis for sure.
0-2. Elvis 0 for 2 and takes this one in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Chris Smith, 3rd pitcher of the day for the Oakland A's. And Smith, we were talking about his velocity last inning and the fact that it does not throw hard. 35 years old. And a guy who has had just a cup of coffee here and there in the big leagues in his long playing career. This one lined out into center field, and Andrews retired to start the 5th inning. We'll be back to that in a moment. Time to take a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Dana Larson.
Dave, in case anyone missed this earlier, Brewers were still clinging to playoff hopes entering today, but they ended with this Brett Phillips strikeout. Cardinals beat the Brewers 7-6, which means the Rockies clinch the 2nd wild card in the NL. They will play the D-backs on Wednesday, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. And kind of a shame. Milwaukee, what a great run they had this year. And first it was the division, and just recently eliminated from that race, and then finally today eliminated from the wild card. A surprise team, but their season effectively done.
They did a lot. I don't want to say with a little, but certainly with a roster that wasn't one that was to be believed in, maybe, that had a postseason run in them, but they absolutely outperformed expectations this year. Good stepping stone for them. Craig Counsell, their manager, did a really nice job. You got a lot to be proud of. New front office there in Milwaukee as well, and so much like the Twins, the Arizona Diamondbacks, I mean, teams that had a new front office and thought, okay, maybe a little bit of a rebuild, but actually went out and contended, and a couple of those teams even made the postseason.
2 balls and a strike to Mazzara, who has tied a career high in home runs this year with 20. Smith, I need to correct myself, by the way. Chris Smith, 36 years old. He was 35 on opening day, but has since celebrated a birthday, and it's now 2-2. Smith was completely out of baseball. I mean, he did not pitch or play for anyone in 2012 after he was released in 2011 by the Mariners. Then pitched a couple of years of independent ball. Ground ball down to first base, and Mazzara is the 2nd out of the inning.
Let's take a look at our AT high-speed replay, and we got to get to Joey Gallo and this absolute bomb that he hit to dead center. Number 40 on the year for Joey Gallo. And take a look at this swing path as he gets to that ball on an even plane. And then you see that little bit of an uppercut as he goes. And as much as we talk about it, Joey Gallo continues to get it done. There's that 2nd home, and this one he had to go down and get it. It's really cool to kind of look at that swing path from Joey Gallo, but as much as we talk about the uppercuts and the fly balls, you're level to get there. You don't want to swing down on the ball. That's a phrase that is sometimes, I think, used in the wrong way. If you hear a youth coach tell you that, tell him, no, I will not swing down on the ball. You don't want to swing down on it, but once you get to it, that's when you really start to lift. That was a great visualization there of Joey Gallo and his swing path on both of those home runs.
Smith serves that one up high. 2-0 the count. Big night for Gallo. Certainly the exclamation point, the highlight of the evening. Smith's 2-0. And it is outside. So Gallo with 41 home runs and well shy of that, what is it, 32 singles. So kind of unusual to see a guy with more home runs than singles. I mean, he is pretty well defined by his just awesome power. He takes the walk here. 74th time he has done that. There you see the difference. Well, there aren't many who have accomplished the same thing. Bonds in 2001, and then McGuire in back-to-back years also accomplished that feat. More homers than base hits, but even they, in all three of those years, had more base hits than Gallo has had this year. Pretty crazy. As Smith is done after the walk, then we'll go deeper to the A's bullpen in a moment.
Here at Globe Life Park in Arlington as we welcome you back to the third game of this four-game series, the penultimate game of this 2017 regular season. It is time for our State Farm winning combination, and tonight we feature the guy who's got a couple of home runs on the evening, 40 and 41. But when you take a look back at the longest bombs this season, you go to August 1st versus Seattle here at home, 490 feet for Mr. Gallo. Then September 17th, perhaps the most majestic of the home runs that Joey Gallo has had this season, 494 feet into no man's land there at the Big A. It has been quite a season for Joey Gallo. Again, 40 and 41 here tonight, and that smile after number 40 pretty much said it all, guys.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad you brought that one back up. I'd almost forgotten about that one in LA. Hard to believe.
You did?
I mean, when I think of his massive home runs, I think of the one that went straightaway center field up onto the roof. And I think of anything that goes into the upper deck and nearly hits the roof out there in right field. But this was in the third inning today, his second home run, and look out.
What do you mean too high?
Exactly.
They're fun to watch. But it's, you know, as soon as he hit it, like I'm like right away I'm thinking roof. Hit the roof. Get a chance to hit the roof, which is absurd to think that he could hit the roof in right field. I would like to see it before his career is over. It's probably asking a lot.
I've seen him bounce one up onto the scoreboard or up against the scoreboard out there in right field during batting practice. He hit one up way up on top of that roof, and it hit off the K in Park.
That's amazing.
It's just sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely absurd. But the one in Los Angeles was fun just because it, you know, looked like he was hitting off the fifth tee. Just the way that it hit that big thing of AstroTurf and just kind of trickled down right in the middle of the fairway. That was just fun to watch. And the reaction to the broadcast booth next to us.
Yeah.
Mark Gubazza, Victor Rojas, who've been calling games there for a while now, and they were both stunned.
Base hit right field. Around second, heading to third is Gallo. Oh, Robinson with a single off Maul. The Rangers have him on the corners with 2 out.
Well, Drew Robinson getting an opportunity here against the lefty, and that looked like a little cutter slider for Mole that didn't do very much, and it kind of spun a little bit. And we saw him in last night's ball game and talked about some of the struggles that he has had against lefties. Excellent base running here by Joey Gallo, first to avoid that ball and a good turn, and he's going to get the third pretty easily, even if that ball didn't bounce off the glove of Marcus Semien. And as much as we continue to talk about the power, because that's the thing that is the most fun to talk about with Joey Gallo, he does a lot of other things really, really well, including running the bases. I almost said funnest. I wanted to say funnest.
I wish you would have.
But I didn't.
Now Nicholas, he'll take one in. Nicholas 0 for 2. Well, 4 of the Rangers' 5 runs came in the second inning. And their last run was on that home run you just saw a moment ago by Joey Gallo in the third. Bouncer foul, 1-1 the count. Tomorrow, the final game in this series, and the final game of the 2017 regular season. And also tomorrow, it's interesting because all games around Major League Baseball will start simultaneously. They all begin at 2 o'clock Central Time. That was something that was instituted. Was it last year the first year, or has it been a couple years now?
For the
2 o'clock Central Time start for everything.
I think last year was the first year because it was 2 years ago where teams were playing those shenanigans, right? Wasn't it the St. Louis Cardinals where they changed their starter because they didn't need to win the game anymore?
All right.
And which gave them the opportunity, I believe, to hold back Adam Wainwright, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so the idea is we start everybody at the same time. That way you can't sandbag if you already know the result of a previous game. And you know, look, from the fans' perspective, you got everything going on at once, and you can be biting your nails, scoreboard watching, going crazy at all the drama that could unfold on the final day of the season. Except, oddly enough, not this year. Check swing. It's 2-2. Bring him up. And I said Nicholas went around on the check swing, and the inning is over. He doesn't like it much. Neither does Jeff Bannister. Rangers leave a couple. 5 complete. Another look. Pretty close. Tomorrow, final game of the season, final game of the series. Our AT&T pitching matchup, Cole Hamels will be looking for win number 12 tomorrow for the Rangers. Daniel Megden is mound opponent, a September call-up for the A's, although a guy with plenty of big league experience in his young career. He will have the ball for Oakland.
Old Hoss Radburn, doppelganger.
Yeah.
And a mustache. I mean, really, both him and Cash could slide into the late 19th century, and neither one of those guys would miss a beat. They wouldn't stick out at all.
Nope. What a we start the 6th inning. 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Oakland. Matt Joyce, Jed Lowry, and Chris Davis. And a bouncer foul. There we go. Nice play down there. Joyce 0 for 2. He is grounded out and flied out tonight. Oakland will finish in last place in the American League West. They made quite the push, though, in the month of September. This team really played well. As this one lined softly over shortstop and into left field, and Joyce is on with his first hit of the night.
Yeah, much like the way that the Rangers are happy with what they're seeing from some of their young players. Now, all of these guys have been here the whole year. Not Willie Calhoun, but certainly Joey Gallo and Rougned Odor, Nomar Mazara. As you watch this hit here from Joyce, Matt Joyce talking about keeping the hands in. Don't be afraid to get jammed. Very similar to what Pudge was talking about earlier in the broadcast. But getting back to what I was saying, the Rangers pretty happy with what they've seen from a lot of their guys. Well, the A's are in a similar position, especially for some of the later call-ups, maybe guys that weren't here all year. We talked about Matt Chapman last night, the third baseman. Matt Olson, who was hurt, will not finish out the year, but he had a tremendous run, showed some pretty incredible power. There's some good things going on here in Oakland.
And 2 to Jed Lowry.
You get an opportunity to be the envy of other organizations when you have good young controllable players, right? That was something else that we were talking about with Pudge. Well, check out the Rangers here, 25 or younger come opening day. Now all these guys won't be on the opening day roster, but that's who's here right now at 25 and younger. Crazy to think that Nomar Mazara at 23 next year will be going into his 3rd full year in the big leagues, which for Nomar Mazara is a beautiful thing. The idea of potentially becoming a free agent at 26 years old. If he continues on the path that he is on right now, he will do very well for himself. There are some positives. We know it's been a downer. It's not fun not going to the postseason. Nobody hides from that either. Jeff Bannister did not today in his meeting. We got a chance to talk to him. He said, yeah, it stinks. It's not fun. Nobody is happy knowing that they're going home after the game on Sunday. But you draw out some positives. You look for them, and there are some legitimate ones here with the Texas Rangers.
2-2. It's a full count. You talk about the experience that Mazara has already at 22 years of age. And the one thing, and Pudge hit on this a little bit today when we were talking about Rougned Odor. Well, I mean, Rougie's 23. We always think of, guys like Mazara as really young. And, people get pretty upset about certain things in Odor's game. I get it. A low batting average, a low on base this year. It's been disappointing for everybody. 23 years old. He just happens to have a whole lot more time right now in the big leagues, a whole lot more exposure. But he's also banked all of that knowledge, and he's building on it. And look, no one's making excuses for the way things went this year, including Rougned Odor. But there's a lot to build on from these last couple of years, and you hope that maybe you can make some adjustments in the offseason and continue to grow a little bit. And if he does, well, you're talking about a lot of young. That's just, look, we talk about the A's as having young talent, and they do, and they bring them up in September all the time. You get to see it. But we're talking about young talent with a lot of big league experience, playing significant roles on winning teams in the case of the Rangers, and sometimes we forget that. 3-2. And that is ball 4. So Lowry draws the walk. A single and a walk. And Cashner's put the first 2 men on in this 6th inning. Texas high school football is in full swing. Football Friday, powered by Dave Campbell's Texas Football, brings you the most comprehensive coverage of Texas high school football around the state. Join us at 8 p.m. on Fox Sports Southwest Plus or a live stream on Fox Sports Go every Friday at 8 p.m. Beautiful shot of our crowd here tonight at Globe Life Park. And it is a perfect evening for baseball here tonight. As you look at Chris Davis now, a guy who has been a terror for Rangers pitching this season and last season. Well, in his career.
Now for Andrew Cashner, he's in that spot with a couple of runners on, nobody out. That he'd love to get another one of those double plays. Davis has hit into 20 of those this year, but he is not a guy that hits the ball on the ground very often. Not surprising, of course, because he's a home run hitter, 42 on the year. He's got a 39% ground ball rate as a hitter, 5-6 points below league average. So he hits the ball in the air much more than he hits it on the ground. But like I said, he has hit into 20 double plays this season.
One and one. And there's a strike to Davis. About 84 pitches tonight. You get some action behind Cashner. Ricky Rodriguez loosening in the pin.
And we'll say this too, as the pitch count gets up there, it's a 5-0 lead. I don't think Jeff Bannister will allow Andrew Cashner to ever potentially face now the tying run. I think he'll only leave him in a situation where he can win this ball game. He had talked about it beforehand, how that he had hoped the Rangers could get Andrew Cashner a win that would bring him to 11-11 and even 500 record. Again, it might seem like semantics, but it does matter to players. Yeah, a year in which I was 500 as opposed to being a game below.
Davis shoots this one out to right field and up over the head of Hoying, and then it caroms back over Hoying back toward the outfield. Throw back in, not in time to stop Joyce from scoring from second base. Lowry makes it to third on the Davis double. And so Oakland is on the board. It's a 5-1 game.
This ball was pretty loud off the bat of Chris Davis. We know what a good hitter that he is, but he really got a hold of this one, hit it hard to right field. Two-seam fastball. I think Cashner thinking about that ground ball. The two-seam fastball, a great way to try to get it. This one was up a little bit, and Chris Davis put a really good swing on it. As you see, Matt Joyce scoring easily from second base.
So now Doug Brocail out there, trying to get Cashner to the end of his outing today and maybe get him through this 6th inning. His pitch count not a bad one at all, but I think they would certainly take 6 innings. Be happy with that. Ryan Healy 0 for 2, reached on an error. Also was flying out to right field. Lowry third, Davis second base for Oakland. Allows Gallo to play up on the grass at first base. Mentioned earlier, Oakland has been really good here in September. Healy's had a nice year with 25 home runs. That guy, Bob Melvin, there's the September records in baseball. Or September 6th on. Look at the Indians, 19-3, but the Cubs, Yankees, A's right there. And this one popped up out into right field. Hoying coming on, makes the catch. Lowry bluffs off third, but he's not going anywhere. Going away.
Good job by Andrew Cashner to get that out. First one of the inning without allowing a run to score. That's a good first step as far as trying to prevent this game getting any closer. Such a difficult thing to do. You got runners at second and third, nobody out. And the ground ball would have scored the run. So if he can pull that trick one more time, puts himself in a pretty good position to try to get out of this inning.
Well, here's Chapman with first base empty. Chapman 0 for 2. The guy who's reached on an error tonight and swings and misses at strike one.
That is a nasty pitch from Andrew Cashner at 95 miles an hour. That fastball Chapman swung right over the top. Watch the movement of this pitch with high velocity. If he made contact with that, he probably would have fouled it right off his foot or his ankle somewhere in the lower half of his body. Like that.
Yeah, that was a foul ball. The count 0-2. That one hurt.
Yeah, it did. That's a smart job, I think, by Andrew Cashner. You see a guy take a bad swing on a good fastball down and in, you go right back in there. And as I mentioned, had he foul tipped it, this is the result that he would have gotten. That's exactly what happened on the next pitch, right off of that left toe.
So Lowry's still at third, Davis at second base, 1 out. 1 run is in this inning. And it's 1-2. So talk about the September for this Oakland team. 16-11. You got today's game, you got tomorrow's game left. It's a winning month. They clinched that already. And it's the first winning month that they have had since April of 2016. So they went 10 baseball months, 10 consecutive baseball months without a winning month. It's also the most wins they have had in a single month since June of 2014. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it has been a long, tough stretch for this team. The defense has been right at the core of their problems now for a handful of years, and it was not a good defensive year again this year for Oakland. You see the young players coming, and there's some excitement. That's certainly one of the areas they're going to have to improve to get better. Catch and throw that ball with a little more consistency. 2-2 to Chapman, and I would argue that at times this year for the Rangers that has been, a big part of their struggles. I think of even Sam Dyson's struggles this year. Some of that was at times plays weren't made behind him. He had his own struggles, his own issues. Ground ball, shortstop. Andrews will have just one play, and that is to go to first. Chapman erased, but he'll get credit for an RBI. Lowry comes in from third base. It's a 5-2 ball game.
No, you're right, especially here for the A's. They lead Major League Baseball in errors. That is certainly something that they'll want to clean up. It's one thing to be young, but to beat yourself is certainly not a category in which they want to be leading in baseball.
Now Davis at third base now with 2 gone, and here is Bruce Maxwell. 0 for 1. He has walked and grounded out.
And there it is right there. 120 errors, 83 unearned runs. Both of those lead Major League Baseball. And that's going to give me enough time to get my Bruce Maxwell interesting fact in that I wanted to get in. They shut me down last time, but this frame, I thought this was interesting. 4.46 pitches per plate appearance. That is a big number. The A's, talk about the things that they're doing well as a team, seeing 4 pitches per at bat. That's the best in all of Major League Baseball. So they certainly show some patience. They're an organization that kind of put on-base percentage on the map a little bit, right? We started paying closer attention during the Moneyball era. They still look for those kind of hitters, but Bruce Maxwell has been very impressive with nearly 4.5 pitches per plate appearance that he has seen this year.
1-2 the count on Maxwell.
Got it in.
Let's see, this will be the 4th pitch of the at-bat. We have 1.5 pitches left. Any other notes? Too late. He strikes out swinging, and the inning is done. They'll get 2 runs in the 6th.
Good job by Andrew Cashner to seal things up after the first 3 runners of the game, the inning reach. He finishes off with a big strikeout of Maxwell.
Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot today, $400 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Anita Brock of Crowley, Texas is our contestant. Anita needs somebody in a Rangers uniform to hit a home run this inning. That will get her $400 and that dinner for 2. If it's a grand slam, Anita wins an additional $25,000 bucks. All right. Rougned Odor leading it off. He is 2 for 2. Double, a single. He has scored a run. And he hits a lot of home runs.
This will be interesting. So Maul last time when he faced Rougned Odor was able to strike him out, swept the slider away from Rugi out of the zone, and so now in back-to-back nights Rougned Odor will get at bats against this lefty. We'll see what kind of adjustments he'll be able to make.
Takes high, 2-0. 4 runs in the 2nd, another run in the 3rd for the Rangers tonight. On top, 5-2. Sam Maul is the 3rd reliever used by Oakland tonight. Daniel Gossett started when an inning and 2/3. Since then we have seen Castro, Smith, and now Maul. And he runs it in, 3-1. One thing Odor has done a little bit better here the last, I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks of this season is work the count a little deeper, draw some more walks. In fact, has 3 walks on this homestand. We saw a game the other day on the road where he got 3 walks in the same game. First time it had happened in his career. Full count. And that was a couple of days after drawing 2 walks in a game in Oakland. Something he had done just 5 times in his career. So showing a little more patience. It's this ball foul. In fact, his 32 walks are a career high.
Now you're right. You definitely have noticed it over the last couple of weeks here with Rougned Odor. for the season, 3.7 pitches per plate appearance, but over the last couple of weeks, 4.5 pitches per plate appearance. So that is a significant improvement for Rougned Odor, something that I believe he probably wants to improve on for next year as well.
It's this one out to center field and well, but Smolinski several steps to his right, tracks it down. One out here in the 6th inning. Rangers Authentics is your home for the highest quality, most exclusive Rangers memorabilia. Offerings include a lot of game-used equipment, jerseys worn by players, and plenty more. A portion of all proceeds will be donated to the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Go to TexasRangers.com/authentics to learn more. Hoying takes strike one. RBI double earlier tonight for Jared. So has scored a run.
I think the last time that he started, it has been a while. I think going all the way back to June 14th.
Soft liner just past second base. He's had bodies running all over the place on that one too, as Hoying ends up with his second hit of the night.
And that's what happens when you put the ball in kind of an unusual spot against any kind of shift. Everyone kind of scampering. There's the slider, grip them all, and you see the little check swing, knockdown wedge. You don't want to do too much. Keep the wrist stiff. Stay through the ball. That's what Hoying did right there, and he placed it perfectly. As you see, it ends up just out of the reach of Jed Lowry.
So that is it for Maul. More action from that A's bullpen when we come back. Continue here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Major League Baseball postseason is almost here. You watch every pitch, hit, and strikeout. Of course, every out, inning, and game to this point has led to this. The only thing that matters now is October. The ALDS begins next Thursday only on FS1. All right, our showstopper today. You can only imagine when this guy grows up. He might be pretty good one day. Aaron Judge, the rookie, with his 52nd home run today for the Yankees.
It went over there really, really far, according to that fan.
Man. Well, he put Mark McGwire in the rearview mirror and just has blown past him with that rookie record 52 home runs. And DeShields takes high for ball one. Ryan Dole has come on here for Oakland.
49th game for Dole. You see the ERA, a little bit of a surprise to see that ERA up, but he does have the 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Dole's got a fastball, sits right around 91. Good slider at 82 and changeup sits at 85.
Two balls and no strikes on DeShields, who has singled and lined out today.
I'd say surprised with Ryan Dole because he had a breakout season last year with the Oakland A's. 70 games pitched for him, and he posted a 2.42 ERA. Big year for him. 73 strikeouts and 74 innings. Did a really nice job. Now he missed some time. He was on the DL. A strained right knee. It lasted nearly 2 months.
Runner goes, so down to second base in time. And the second base runner that Maxwell has thrown out tonight, Hoying, gunned down. 2-4, the caught stealing.
Jared Hoying trying to plead his case. It doesn't necessarily work that way. He did not have a very big lead, but this was a very strong throw from Maxwell. You see Jed Lowry right there. They may want to take a look at this.
No, they do.
Let's see here. Yeah, he's safe as long as he held the bag, which means I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with my scorecard.
Oh no, did you already?
I sure did.
So Jeff Bannister has challenged this one, and from this angle right here, certainly looks safe.
Yeah, he's in there right there. He's got the bag. No tag yet. There's the tag, and he is.
Question is, does he hold the bag? He doesn't hold the tag. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, but there's at one point. Let's watch it. Oh, we almost were there. But they look like at one point might have come off for a second. That's the part that's hard to tell. Let's watch it one more time right here. His hand is going to get in. Here comes the tag. The question is, as the tag is applied right there, does he come off? Keep going a little bit further. And I don't think you can make that call. I got to believe that's got to be safe. See him on left pinky doing everything he can to hold that bag.
Well, they're taking a look at that back in New York and giving it a pretty good look as well, obviously. Well, we've seen a handful of replays. I don't know, to me, they look like enough to overturn the call. But they are thoroughly examining this one back at Chelsea Market in New York.
So you said 52 home runs for Aaron Judge. You think he's making a run for MVP?
Going to run for MVP.
It's between him and Jose Altuve, I think. I think Altuve's the MVP.
Altuve's the guy. Yeah, no, I think he's obviously he's there. Those two are 1 and 2.
Yep. And there's a lot of good candidates for really every award in both leagues this year.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting too to get in the mindset of the voter.
Yep.
Right. And the reason I say that is because I'll take you to a place where I know you don't go. You see MVP as the best overall player.
Yep.
Kind of the Heisman Trophy concept. And I think I can see where sometimes guys see MVP as the most valuable player. There it is. It is overturned, and that is a stolen base for Hoying, his 3rd of the year.
But between those two candidates, that's pretty tough to, I think, differentiate. It's one thing if your team's not going to the postseason, and then people try to play that game. Well, if this guy wasn't on the team, then this would happen. That's too much for me. That's
of course it's too much for you. But I would say this: like the Astros are a stacked team. People knew they were going to be a postseason contending team. The Yankees, no one expected them this year to really compete in that division, and yet they have, and they were the postseason. And Judge came out of nowhere to be spectacularly good for them. So, I mean, I could see if you want to take it from the standpoint of a guy's value to a team, his value to the Yankees might be greater than Altuve's value to the
Correa
Astros.
missed a lot of time this year.
No, good point.
Anyway,
I think Altuve's the MVP.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of close voting, and poor Mike Trout, I don't think is going to finish 1st or 2nd this year for the first time ever in his life.
Very good point.
I think he'll finish 3rd. He's having a great year. It's just unfortunately lack of playing time with the injury is what will hurt him. If he had played the whole year and put up the numbers and stayed on pace, he probably would be the MVP. Well, unless you care about the postseason part of it, but Anyway, a lot of good players having a lot of good years. Will be a lot of debate, no doubt about it, once those awards are announced.
Hard ground ball, and that one into right field. Base hit. Around third base and headed to the plate. Hoying, he'll score. The throw goes to third, and to Shields is out. 2 gone in the inning, but an RBI single for Willie Calhoun. His first hit of the night. It is 6-2 Rangers.
Well, Willie Calhoun continues to impress here for the Rangers. I was talking to Justin Mayshore, the assistant hitting coach, and take a look at the changeup right here. And a decent pitch that was down, but I was asking him about Willie Calhoun, and he said, you know what? He goes, this guy's just got unbelievably good hands as a hitter. Now watch the line here. There's some hesitation, and he actually waited to watch where the throw went before he decided to go to third, and that's what got him, as you see Jared Hoying cross home plate and score. But he was pretty excited about the swing of Willie Calhoun.
Well, this ball smashed to center field. Going back on it, Smolenski, and that one will roll to the wall. Calhoun being waved around third base. The throw will head plateward, but it's cut off. Andrus with the RBI double. 7-2 Rangers.
About number 44 now for Elvis Andrus, and a good job by Willie Calhoun to score on this. A pitch that just splits the middle of the plate. Elvis was all over it. It was kind of good. This ball had a little bit of tail on it, because when you first watch it, looked like Smolenski would have a chance to get to it, but it kept fading away from him, and Willie Calhoun comes all the way around from first base, and Elvis certainly excited about the big double. The Rangers get those 2 runs back that Andrew Cashner allowed in the top of the 6th inning.
So Andrus in scoring position now for Nomar Mazara. Nomar looking for that one magical RBI for him. Today 1 for 3. And he lifts this one high in the air, back of third base. Playable for Chapman in the inning is done. Well, the Rangers pick up 2 runs. And as we go to the 7th inning, it's a 7-2 ball game.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to left.
For him, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, a couple of runs, a couple of walks, and a couple of strikeouts. 99 pitches for Cashner. Well on his way potentially here to his 11th win on the season. But let's dig in a little bit and take a look at what he did, elevating the fastball against Chris Davis, and then one of 2 big double plays, 4-6-3 double plays. That was the first one. This was the second. Jed Lowry knew it as soon as he hit it, and it was going to be 2 outs. Here's another elevated fastball. That one to Bruce Maxwell. So a very nice night for Andrew Cashner, a night that is finished. 6 innings for him, and now it's going to be Ricky Rodriguez, the right-hander, taking over. 16th game of the year for Rodriguez. The ERA a little bit high for him. First taste of the big leagues, but it is a big arm. Good fastball. It's averaging 95 miles an hour this season.
High pop foul, back out of play. There's strike 1. Cashner, 6 innings, couple of runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And Canna, 8th place hitter. As you can see, an 0 for 2 night for him. The average down to 210 for Canna. Fights off another one foul. 0-2. Rodriguez hides that ball from right-handed hitters and gets this one fouled off again. No balls, 2 strikes. A lot of guys doing this. We saw, who was it earlier today? I guess it was must have been Maul, Sam Maul, who has an exaggerated twist to his set position. There's a swinging miss by Canna. A strikeout starts things here in the 7th inning.
97-mile-an-hour fastball from Ricky Rodriguez, and you see him go up in the zone. Mark Canna's got no chance at catching up with the big fastball there from Rodriguez. Ricky, definitely an interesting guy to keep an eye on as we kind of start looking a little bit forward to next year. What could be his first taste of the big leagues this season, and I think the Rangers definitely like his arm, understandably so. You're always going to like fastballs that touch 97 miles per hour, but you know, after his first outing and he threw the ball well, he got thrown into kind of an important role right away, which is not something you always see with young pitchers. But the bullpen was thin. The Rangers needed some help, and of course we know there's been a lot of turnover in that bullpen this year, even the changing of roles. But some good things happening with Ricky Rodriguez. I'm sure a lot that he has learned from his first season in the big leagues.
It's 2-1. Smolinski shoots it to the right side, foul on a play. Interesting today, Jeff Bannister talking about, you know, off-season evaluation of players, not just current players on this team, but maybe even prospective players for the Rangers in the offseason. And it was funny watching the reporters. You know, this is the whole process of the media session every afternoon. He's trying to box Banny into a specific comment or corner on something. It's a great battle every day to watch. But in any case, finally they tried to time down and said, okay, so it sounds like the one thing this team is going to focus on, whether it be a hitter or a pitcher, is walk strikeout ratio. Hitters are going to be measured that way. Pitchers are going to be measured that way. And Benny kept, you know, trying to say, like, listen, it's not that simple. Yep. But then finally kind of said, like, okay, yeah, you know, basically, yes. Sure. I mean, it is going to be a major part of it. And when you look at the bullpen this year, when it struggled, man, walks were the issue. Throwing strikes, that was the issue. Bouncer, shortstop, Andrews with a good charge and throws on to first to get Smolinski.
No, sure, and I think any good player that you're looking to bring in, of course, those are things you're looking for. You're not going to bring somebody in from the outside and say, well, The walk to strikeout ratio is pretty brutal. Let's sign them up. You know, these are not going to be the kind of players that they're going to be after. You know, we'll see how the offseason goes and what they decide to do. But sure, I think in the bullpen, there was a lot of talk about that at the beginning of spring training. But filling up the strike zone, staying aggressive in the strike zone, you got to do it in order to have success at this level, and especially from your bullpen, right? The idea of, you know, walking guys late, certainly not the formula for success. That guy right there, Alex Claudio, had no problem throwing strikes this year. But we will see. But, you know, I thinking of a guy like Ricky Rodriguez, you look at his year, and, you know, Ranger fans say, well, you know, pitched 12 innings and he had a really high ERA. Well, you always got to dig in a little bit more, and don't forget to take into account that it was his first time around. But in 3 of his 15 games, that's pretty much where he let up all of his runs. He had a 3-run game, a 2-run game, and another 2-run game. So you look at the other 12, and he was incredibly dominant. And so it's a matter of really evaluating what happened in those spots when, you know, he did let up the multiple runs. You could see a lot of upside. I think Ricky Rodriguez has the potential to be an important contributor next year. We'll see who they add this offseason and what happens, but I think he'll be a guy that comes into spring training has a chance to potentially fight for a job.
And floated down the right field line, foul. Ball and 2 strikes on Semien.
And part of the key that you learn as a reliever when you first get to the big leagues, or any pitcher for that matter, and you learn it in the minor leagues, but it gets amplified here in the big leagues, is how you stay away from the big inning. And we talk about that a lot. A couple of guys get on, okay, how do you turn this into, you know, a controlled situation where it doesn't turn into a runaway train, where you get second and third, nobody out, and all of a sudden there's 4 runs on the board, and knowing when it's okay to let up runs, what pitches to make. And we saw Andrew Cashner, right, in that second and third situation, do a really nice job of limiting the damage, and considering the score at the time, those are 2 runs that you can live with.
Swung on and missed, and a strikeout completes a perfect 1-2-3 for Ricky Rodriguez. All right, 7th inning stretch. Time for God Bless America, and we give it over to Chuck Morgan.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate, and welcome on behalf of Law Enforcement Appreciation Night, Victor Lozada Jr. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Victor Lozada Jr. will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the lights from above, through the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Rangers baseball is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Well, beautiful night tonight and a beautiful score. Rangers with the 7-2 lead. And we go to the last of the 7th inning. They'll try and add some more to their total. As Santiago Casilla, an original Oakland A, then Giant, now Oakland A, on for the 63rd time this year.
Yeah, Bay Area for life for Santiago Casilla. For the veteran, fastball sits at 94 miles an hour. You'll see a slider, changeup, and curveball from the veteran right-hander.
Joey Gallo has been the focal point of this one tonight. A couple of home runs. He's driven in 3. And it is 1-1. And you can tell, you can hear it in the crowd. Everybody watching maybe just a tad closer than they otherwise normally would with Gallo. At 41 home runs now for the season.
And at this point, right, trying to get to 40, maybe a little bit of relief. Got at least this at bat. Hopefully 4 more tomorrow. Shooting for 45. How do we get there? Every at bat, that's all I'm thinking about. And listen, he takes hard swings, big swings all the time. Joey Gallo's greatest tool is his power, but I always wonder when you get to this point when really nothing left for the team. You open it up a little bit. I guess you don't want to get in any bad habits even going into the offseason, but I'm thinking let it fly.
And I think that's a mindset that he pretty well embraces from day one. He is definitely a big swinger, and well, what the heck, it's worked for him inside, and he'll take the walk this time. That's the other part of the game that he has really embraced this year. Second walk tonight.
Let's take you back to what Joey Gallo has done so far this evening, and he got a fastball that was up off of Gossett, hit it to dead center field. That was number 40, but this one was unbelievably impressive. Number 41 went high into the sky. Watching Joey Gallo circle the bases twice tonight, and now 3rd in the American League with 41 home runs, trying to catch Chris Davis. Just a game plus to go. But this is the a typical kind of Joey Gallo night. I don't say typical in the sense that he hits 2 home runs all the time, but he is the 3 true outcome king. Strikeouts, walks, and home runs. There's a decent chance you're going to get a couple of those a night with Joey Gallo, and tonight it's been 4 of those. 2 homers, 2 walks.
He was telling me that last road trip, we were in Oakland, in fact. Part of the change for him was in the off season going to see a psychiatrist. And there are struggles in baseball, as we all know. It's a tough game, a lot of disappointments and challenges for guys. And he says part of what he was told to do and has tried to do is look at it as, hey, I wanted to be challenging. This is what I signed up for. I wanted to fight. I wanted to battle. And to constantly remind yourself, yep, that's what's going on. They're going to keep trying to battle me, and I'm going to battle back. And so he had this work of the offseason with a psychiatrist. Then he went in during spring training, and he went into Jeff Bannister's office and sat down, and they had a long chat. And he said it was really the first time, I think, that he went from being just a yes sir, no sir guy, happy to be here sort of fella, to like, hang on, you need to know what I think I can do and how I can fit into this team. And sort of took a little more ownership for his career and his place. And Jeff Bannister really appreciated it. I mean, he talked about it a lot during spring training, that a conversation that Gallo more or less initiated, and felt like, I think it was kind of a big growing up move for Joey Gallo. I think that's the way that Jeff Bannister took it.
There's not a manager in baseball that would love to hear that from a player, right? I think when you get guys to open up a little bit more, especially when they're oozing confidence and maybe getting a little bit of a better understanding of who they are and what it's going to take for them to be successful. That is part of managing now, is really getting to know these players and personalities. Things have changed a lot in our game. The kind of old school manager and just kind of kicking you in the butt and maybe yelling at you once in a while, that we're past that now. This is a different generation. And so knowing Banny, I've got to believe that he absolutely loved hearing that from Joey Gallo. And listen, man, it makes a lot of sense. This game is really difficult. It's an unusual kind of game where you're playing 162 games. Pudge mentioned it earlier, right? You get 200 hits in a season, you had a monster year. That also means you got out 400 times, right? And how do you deal with all of that failure? Always more failure than success, even for the greatest players. And that can really beat you up if you're not careful. And, you know, you were talking about how Joey said, yeah, I'm in a fight, I get it now, and kind of has a better perspective. Jameson Taillon with the Pittsburgh Pirates had one of my favorite lines I've ever heard a player say, and he's really young. This was 2 years ago, and he said, pressure is a privilege. And what a great way to kind of turn the pressure around, because the pressure can eat you up, it can spit you out, and you can find yourself out of the game if the pressure gets to be too much. Well, if you flip the script on it and say, no, actually, no, I welcome the pressure, I welcome the challenge, kind of what Joey Gallo was saying.
Robinson lifts this one high in the air. In a right field, Joyce gets there, and there's one away.
And what a great way to attack that. So yeah, no, it's okay that I'm maybe a little anxious or a little nervous right now. That's a privilege now. And how many people would love to have the privilege of standing there in the box on the mound with a ton of pressure with a Major League Baseball uniform on? So I think it's a really smart way to look at it, a smart way to attack what is a very difficult and high pressure task.
Now Nicholas. And he takes up and away, ball one.
I'm going to use that same approach next time I get on the tee box and it's lined with trees and it seems like it's only 4 feet wide,
right? And
the pressure is on. I'm going to go back to that.
You've snap hooked your last 4 drives.
I got my last ball left, and we still got 4 holes to play. There's water everywhere. Breathe through my eyelids. So yeah, it's a privilege to be on this tee box right now. Hey, can I borrow a ball?
1-1. And that is downstairs. 2-1 the count. Nicholas 0 for 3. Couple of strikeouts. Is also lined out to left field. You know, another interesting thing that's been happening this week. Talking about Joey Gallo and first base and his offense. There's this one flipped foul out of play. I don't know if you saw this earlier today, but Chu was taking ground balls at first base again. It's the 3rd time that's happened now in like a week. So Tony Beasley, he was just goofing around one day. Chu was just down there fooling around during batting practice at first base, and Beasley saw him. Said, "Ooh, I kind of like your hands down here." And so they started, you know, they've been doing it now a little bit occasionally, and there might be a little bit of Shin-Soo Choo at first base as part of the equation next year. You could see him playing a little right field, a little first base, a little DH.
Well, that would certainly be helpful, I think, for the Rangers. You don't know what's going to happen this offseason. You don't know exactly what they're going to go into spring training with next year. You and I have talked about it. Seems to me that Joey Gallo would be the everyday first baseman, but you don't know who they're going to acquire, how the whole thing is going to work out. And so for a guy like Chu, who's been an outfielder and a DH, and coming into this season, the plan was mostly a DH, play the outfield 1 or 2 times per week. The idea of adding another position, certainly a great idea. Now, of course, as a left-handed hitter, you think, okay, well, you want to give Joey Gallo a day off. I guess your first preference would be that your second first baseman will be a right-handed hitter, but then at the same time, Chu's not your average left-handed hitter. You can put him in there against some pretty good left-handed pitching and feel confident that he'll be able to give you multiple good at-bats.
Casillas 2-2 in this one over third, and that drops in, base hit. Just enough to get out there for a single. Gallo gets to third, And the Rangers have him on the corners.
Brett Nicholas will take this after a tough strikeout in his last at bat. Two-seam fastball running away, and he catches it off the very end of the bat, and pretty much at that moment only had one hand on the bat anyways. That top hand starts to come off, and you don't always have to hit it hard, but he does a nice job of staying on that pitch and even putting it in play. And we talked about Joey Gallo earlier and the great job that he does on the bases. That is a nice read by him as he coasts right into third base.
So now Rougned Odor, that base hit now means that everyone in the lineup tonight has at least one hit. Odor has a pair of them. Bump the average up a little bit tonight to 204. Santiago Casilla, the 5th relief pitcher tonight for Oakland. And a swing and a miss makes it 1-1. Daniel Gossett had the start for Oakland, but could not get out of the second inning. When an inning and 2/3 allowed 4 runs on 5 hits. And then Simon Castro, Chris Smith, Sam Moll, Ryan Dolan, now Santiago Casilla. Slow roller, first baseline. Casilla throws, and that one goes wildly down the right field line. 1 run is in. They'll put up the stop sign at third. Oh, now we got the run down, and heading in from third is Nicholas, but he is gunned down. Well, good try.
Well, we know that Brett Nicholas is not necessarily known for his speed, but what a wild play here. First you see Rougned Odor with the little infield dribbler, and he comes up the line. I was a little concerned that potentially if that ball hit him, he was going to be called out of that 40-foot lane, but he was not, and then he was caught in a rundown, and so Brett Nicholas decides to take a shot at third. There is the head-first slide. He was out significantly. You see Odor here in the rundown, and anytime you get that runner at third base, you try to stay in this rundown as long as you possibly can. Nicholas thought he had an opportunity to score, but he did not, so Rougned Odor goes down to second base.
And so it is an error.
Come on, straight error?
Well, it is an error on Casilla. No base hit. Group now back of third base. That one,
he would have been safe.
Handled by Chapman. Scored at E1.
I'll be
then
back.
The rundown was a 4-6-3-2. I don't know what to tell you.
some scary moments here for the Washington Nationals. Max Scherzer had to leave the game with an apparent leg injury. The latest word is that it is just a hamstring cramp. So they hope nothing too serious and that he will be available when they play the Cubs on Friday in the NLDS. Dave?
Well, that's just it, though. And, you know, thanks, Dana. That's just it. What, Friday?
Yeah.
He's got till Friday.
It's only a cramp.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time to, you know, get a little work in the training room and get yourself back up to full strength. So a scare, yes, and if indeed it is nothing more than a cramp, you figure with that kind of time off that he'll be fine and ready to go against the Cubs in their opener. Dodgers will be waiting the winner of the wild card on the National League side, and of course in the American League side. Twins and Yankees in the wild card to play the Indians, and then it's the Astros and Red Sox. After a 4-game series to end the regular season, they will begin a best of 5 in the ALDS.
There's some great parity within the postseason, right? We were talking about it last night. You look at 8 teams as Matt Bush now takes over here for the Rangers with that 8-2 lead. There's no one juggernaut.
This ball hit well out to right field and gone. A line drive home run by Matt Joyce, his 25th of the season. 8-3 our score here in the 8th inning. That is an ongoing career best tally for Joyce.
Let's take a look at the pitch here from Matt Bush. They wanted it up and he threw it up. Now it was up and away a little bit, which gave Matt Joyce an opportunity to get those hands extended. I've talked about this a lot with Matt Bush. I really like him pitching up in the zone. You got to give a little bit of credit there to Joyce to be able to get to that pitch, even though it was away, which allowed him to get his arms extended. It was still pretty high. I feel like Matt Bush's best fastballs, especially once he gets ahead in the count or even into the middle of the count, when he elevates, that's when he becomes really dangerous. But wow, that was a little bit of a shocker to see Matt Joyce get to that pitch and hit it the way that he did.
Well, I can tell you that that one went 378 feet. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how far Gallo's second home run went.
I'm more curious, and you and I have joked around about some of the
apex
numbers, but I just want to know how high it went. Like, that's when I care. Like the average home run, I could care less. But that one, I don't even know where to begin guessing. 300 feet? That's too high, right?
Yeah, I don't know. But
like if you took the foul line right now and it's you know, from home plate to the foul pole and then went straight in the air. Well, that obviously, you know.
No, it's too high. So I'd say
260.
I mean, that might be too much. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
What's the? I'd say if you get anywhere close to 200, that is an enormously high fly ball.
How about this? If you look at the scoreboard, right? How high did it go? Higher than the scoreboard at any point in right field?
I might have gotten as high as the bottom of the scoreboard.
I think it went higher than that. I was just watching the roof the whole time, waiting to hear it go clank.
For sure. That's what I was looking for.
Like, so you think it went like maybe where it says Globe Life Park? That might have been the height.
Maybe a little higher, like
I'll get up on the roof tomorrow and laser shoot it and let you know.
I appreciate that. Fly ball, center field, and playable for DeShields. Tell you what, I enjoy nothing more than watching the most talented athletes in the world play baseball. I love the show of athleticism and skill. But I would, you know, I think the idea of you getting up on that roof and laser shooting anything is just about as exciting to me.
I have my dress shoes on. Those will be fine, right? The friction would be okay. It shouldn't be an issue.
I could see that.
Go dress shoes up there, and you have to look for a new partner, probably.
Listen, I'd be there for you, buddy.
Thanks.
I'd be right down there at the bottom, ready to catch you.
Ready?
Yep. A little too much there for Davis, and he flips aside the bat. And understand, that would never make the guy feel very good. Well, he will head to first base.
Take a look at this pitch. Runs up and in. on Chris Davis, and you see it as it catches him on his left shoulder. And hitters don't like getting hit, but they especially do not like getting hit up high. That'll always put a hitter in a bad mood.
He is on now for Ryan Healy. By the way, the home run by Joyce a moment ago. That makes 17 straight games now that the Oakland A's have hit a home run. And Healy takes ball 1 low. And I think now, yeah, longest active streak in baseball. And for the month of September, it gives them 45 home runs. High fly ball again, right field. Hoying emphatic that he wants it. 2 out. Well, download MLB.com at bat today. You get Rangers home screen icons as well as game day highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. And as we head to the off season, all those alerts that you'll get, breaking news and updates. Check it out. MLB.com at bat. 2 away here in the 8th inning. And Chapman takes inside for a ball. And by the way, I want to clean up something that happened last inning on that little dribbler by Odor. It was a base hit.
Okay.
He did get an RBI, then an error that allowed him to go to second, and then the rundown that went 4 to 6 to 3 to 2 to get Nicholas at the plate. It was a 4-piece scoring decision on that play.
It's a lot of work. I just go straight to the 3-2 put out. I skip the stuff at the beginning.
just go to the 3-2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
It's efficient. I like it. Line drive, center field. That's a base hit. So the A's continue the inning. Chapman with his first hit of the night. Davis stopped at second base. So 2 men on here in the 8th inning. And it is a 5-run game, and Doug Brocail out there to have a quick word with Matt Bush. Bush, home run, a hit batter, a single. Looked like Brooke might have wanted to relay a little message to our plate umpire, Tony Randazzo, but Randazzo never quite made it out there. And Brooke turned around and was kind of looking at him. Didn't get to have that moment. All right, Maxwell 0 for 2 with a walk. So Maxwell does have the 1 walk. A's have had some opportunities today, but they've also hit into a couple of huge double plays. In fact, Maxwell's walk in the 2nd inning loaded the bases with 1 out, and then Mark Canha bounced into a double play almost immediately after. And that, in a way, seems like a game changer. They're 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight. Off the plate on the appeal, he did not go. It's 2-1.
You see so far here with Matt Bush staying with the fastball away, the one that he has thrown in the strike zone. Maxwell was late on it, but now he's sitting in a 2-1 count. You wonder, try to get it started a little bit early after being late on 96 2 pitches ago.
2-2.
It doesn't matter. He still can't catch up to that 97. You know, the temptation is there in these spots to throw something with a wrinkle in it, whether it be the curveball or the slider for Matt Bush. But we also have seen Maxwell chase some pitches out of the zone. So this would be that ideal time to elevate within the strike zone here for Matt Bush to try to finish off Maxwell. There it was, and Brett Nicholas thinking the same thing. You know, there is the times where you'll see these guys elevate out of the zone, try to get a chase. In a situation where you have a 2-2 count, you probably want to try to keep it in the zone or close to it, or you still try to get that chase. Try to stay away from the 3-2 count.
Another 2-2. Runner goes from third, and there's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Maxwell strikes out. Bush gets his way through the 8th inning. Rangers with a big lead tonight, and the show has been Joey Gallo's. 2 massive home runs today to get him to 40 and beyond. Andrew Cashner's chipped in with 6 strong innings, and of course the leader, Elvis Andrus, drives in a run with a double. Bottom of the 8th inning in this one tonight. Carissa Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, Dave Wannstedt, Colin Cowherd, and Michael Vick have all the latest breaking news and updates you need to start your football Sunday. Fox NFL kickoff Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. All right, here the patriarch, Michael Brady, taking over here in the bottom of the 8th inning for Oakland.
16th game for Brady on the season. Fastball sits at 91. He's got a cutter, curveball, and a changeup as well. Now we far enough removed from generations where it's not an issue for him.
No, I
you don't think so?
I'm afraid that thing is probably going to hang on for many more generations.
But is that why he goes by Michael?
It's probably
throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to throw you off the scent. Doing his best here to be the architect of a scoreless inning in the 8th. 1-1 to the Shields, and he pulls it foul. 4 strike 2. So Renato Nunez comes into left field for Oakland, formerly manned by Mark Canha, who moves over to right. Bumps Joyce out of the game. Last of the 8th, a 5-run lead for the Rangers, trying to make it 2 in a row over Oakland. Ooh. Shields chases strike 3 and strikes out to start the 8th inning.
Brady's done a really good job as far as filling up the strike zone here. This is his first time pitching in the big leagues in his 15 games. He's pitched 30 2/3 innings coming into this one. He's only walked 6 hitters, but he's allowed 7 home runs in those 30 innings. So the command has been good. He's attacked hitters, but he's allowed 22 runs, 20 of those earned. That's the high ERA. I think, you know, you look at young pitchers the first time you're going to get a look and trying to make an evaluation, you'll always take the guy who's aggressive in the strike zone, even if that means a few more hits. In this case, a pretty high home run rate, those 7 allowed in 30 innings. 6 walks, certainly a good number for Brady.
Low to Calhoun, makes it 1-1. Well, Willie's had a good, productive night again tonight. Base hit, a walk, a run scored, an RBI for him. Pulls it down the first baseline. Foul, 1-2 the count. Brady steps off the rubber and will reset. Tomorrow, the final game of this series, final game of the regular season for both clubs. And Calhoun's pop-up might be playable. Maxwell over near the camera well, and that one beyond his reach. Be an interesting offseason for Willie Calhoun, formerly the Dodgers system. And the big piece in the Yu Darvish trade this year. Called up not at the beginning of September, but a little ways in when injury and necessity dictated that he join the team and get a little time in left field. Now getting some regular starts in this final week of the season, and has really produced as an everyday figure in the lineup. Today batting second.
This has been a good opportunity for Willie. Good for the Rangers to get that look.
He scoops this one well out to right field, but Canna is there, and there is one away.
And we'll see what next year holds, and ultimately where the Rangers are going, what the needs will be, who will be in position battles next spring training. But it's hugely helpful, I think, even though we say you don't want to over evaluate, put too much stock into what you see in September, just to see Willie Calhoun go up against some big league pitching. I told you that I'm pretty giddy about his swing, and I feel like he definitely has a knack for hitting. I think the future is definitely very bright for Willie Calhoun.
A new haircut. Shaved it off.
You don't do that after you get 3 hits.
He did it before.
Before the 3 hits. Okay.
Yeah. And I, by the way, misspoke. That was the second out of the inning on that pop up into right field.
That would be a rookie mistake.
That would be
something somebody had to sit down and have a good talk with him and say it's the way you do it in the big leagues. He's done a nice job. He's really held his own in the outfield. And that was something the Rangers certainly wanted to get a look at. And that's the other thing too, is you can do that in spring training. You can do it in the minor leagues. But when they add that third deck and the lights are a lot higher and it's a lot brighter in the big league ballpark, you see some guys change. And for Willie Calhoun to get that first taste here in a big league stadium playing left field, I think he's done everything they've wanted to see from him. I don't think they have any huge expectations that he's going to be an outstanding defensive outfielder. I mean, certainly he could grow into that over time, but that first taste of just really holding the position down very well, I think that's the goal, and he absolutely has met that.
I talked to him a couple of days in to his joining the big club about that defensive change at the left field, and he takes a lot of pride in that defense. And it's still early, man. It's still early, that transition into left field, but he really thinks people are underestimating his ability to play defense. And of course, we've seen him make some really nifty plays out there. 2-2, and that one hit on the ground. Nice backhand pick by Lowry, and his throw back to first in time. They get Elvis Andrus on a great defensive play. We go to the 9th inning. Rangers 3 outs away from taking their second in a row from Oakland.
Of the 9th here of game 161. And Dana Larson reminding you to join us for Rangers Eye, presented by Frontier Communications. Mark McLemore will be here. In fact, just moments ago, he arrived. He will be here to help break down this game. There he is. See, right on time, Mac. Game 161. You know this drill by now, don't you?
Yes.
He is here.
I got it down now.
Got it down now.
Finally.
We will hopefully be having a lot of fun on the post-game show. If the Rangers can wrap up this victory, we'll look at those majestic moonshots of Joey Gallo. We'll talk about Andrew Cashner. We'll hear from the skipper, other key players in the clubhouse, and of course set up the upcoming playoffs for the rest of the teams across the major leagues, and look at game 162 and Cole Hamels in the finale tomorrow. All that and so much more with Mac coming up in just a little bit, guys.
Mac,
He's
you know
here.
the drill. We'll see you in Kangaroo Court. $1 a minute.
Oh, wow. He's just busy prepping. He's just over at the desk working away. So he's a second late. He's fine. Paolo Espino has come on here in the 9th inning. Mark Canha leading things off for Oakland, and he hits this one down the line. Foul, and what a play. Whoa.
Wow.
Did she get that one?
I don't know. I'm guessing no, based on the fact that she's looking to see if the ball went into the stands, but certainly A for effort. When you're starting from the chair position, it's tough to get up, but how about it? Not easy to do, and a heck of an effort. I mean, you go from the seated position to try to jump in the air. I have a hard enough time getting on my seat as it is, period.
High hop down to third, and Robinson.
Well, let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Espino. You see the fastball 89 miles an hour on average, throws it 56% of the time. It is a full repertoire for Paolo. The curveball, the slider, and the changeup. He throws them all. The right-hander with an opportunity here to close out a victory for the Rangers.
Middlebrooks, by the way, coming to play third base. Did a nice job on that one. Robinson moved over to short. Andrews is out of the game. All right, Smolinski 1 for 3. He takes that one low. It's 2-0. Eight 3 Rangers lead, 9th inning, and Espino finds the strike zone there. It's 2-1. Third pitcher in relief. Pardon me. Yeah, third pitcher in relief today behind Andrew Cashner. Rodriguez is scoreless inning. Bush gave up a run last inning, and a curveball in there. Strike 2. Foul ball keeps the count. 2-2 on Smolinski. Smolinski still with the oh, I don't know exactly how you say it, the oddity, the fact that he has not driven in a run yet this year. Talk about round numbers for guys. That's a number that's sitting in the back of his head. He'd love to drive somebody in. Full count now. He missed so much of the season this year with surgery on his right shoulder. Had that surgery on March 16th. A labrum that needed repaired. Came up 1st of September. And it's a 33-game streak that he is on now without an RBI. Longest streak in Athletics history. Well, it is the longest since 1983. So let's say it's the longest streak ever. The 3-2 pitch. That is called strike 3, and Smolinski down looking.
Well, he's not happy about it, but this was a good pitch down in the zone, perfectly located right at the knees for Espino. Check out this fastball right there. Good job by Brett Nicholas to make sure that home plate umpire had a good look at it. Smolinski not happy with that call at all.
So with 2 gone, it brings up Marcus Semien. Last chance for Oakland, down by 5. That ball ripped down a left field line. If it stays fair, it's trouble, and that one is off the pole. Home run for Marcus Semien, his 10th of the year. Well, makes it an 8-4 game.
That's a good poke from Marcus Semien, loud off the bat. Jumps all over this pitch from Espino. The first strike that he sees, a 90-mile-an-hour 2-seam fastball, and this thing was up pretty high as you see it go off of that foul pole.
Breaking ball that misses to Renato Nunez. .402 feet for that home run.
That was quick. So we can just give up on any hope of ever finding out about the Joey Gallo homer, the second one.
I mean, it's if we don't have it at this point, it's going to be a little. It's hard to imagine that we're going to get a good number later on. I don't know how they do that.
And the thing was too, it's not necessarily that the distance would be that impressive anyway. He's definitely hit farther home runs, but hang time might have been one of his longest in that regard.
Just to be clear.
Yep.
The distance wouldn't be impressive.
No, for Joey Gallo. I don't think it would have cracked that top 5 that we saw this year. What do you think? I'm saying 415 on the high end.
Oh really? No,
I think his first home run went further. But
yeah, might have. Yeah,
I've been wrong before.
Well, let's not.
It's like at least twice this year I had some stuff wrong.
Let's not be silly, please.
Yes, I don't think he beat any of those.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow when you get that.
That's right.
Laser read off the rooftop. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3, and Nunez strikes out for the final out of this one tonight. 8-4. Rangers make it 2 straight over the Oakland A's.
Well, good night here for the Texas Rangers. Andrew Cashner did an excellent job, but Joey Gallo really was the star of the show. A couple of home runs for him. The big one, of course, was the first one that he hit. That one came back in the 2nd inning, and it was home run number 40 on the year, a pitch up in the zone that he handled extremely well. And Joey Gallo also rounded those bases with a big smile. And then the second one, this one came in the 3rd inning for Joey Gallo, a solo shot, home run number 41. And so now he trails Chris Davis by just 1 home run for 2nd in the American League. And these guys will go head-to-head again tomorrow. But a nice evening here for Joey Gallo. 4 plate appearances, 2 home runs, 2 walks. Did a nice job at first base. There is Andrew Cashner. He got win number 11, so his season is now over. He'll go to 11-11 on the year. A really nice year for Cashner. The ERA finishes at an even 3.40 for the righty.
A little note on that earned run average too. T.R. Sullivan was he put out a little note earlier tonight that 340 earned run average, 8th lowest by a Ranger starter since his park opened in 1994.
Wow.
Pretty decent little note for Andrew Cashner. Well, the star of the show, there's no question about it, Joey Gallo, and he's standing by with Emily Jones.
Yeah, Joe, I don't know if I have ever, yes. No, I don't know if I've ever seen you smile so big as when you were rounding second base after hitting number 40.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to hit 40 home runs this year, and I wasn't really pressing to hit it, but everybody, you know, every game was like, let's go, you need one more, let's go. And I'm like, I'm trying, you know, like I'm not trying to get out. So when I hit it, it felt good, you know, to actually get it out of the way.
Was there a sense of relief to have gotten it?
Yeah, definitely a sense of relief, especially with only 2 games left. I was like, you know, how many times am I going to get close to hitting 40 home runs? I don't know. So I want to take advantage of it, and I did today. So I'm just blessed, man. And we had a good team win. That wasn't just me. It was everybody played really well.
I don't want to get all sappy on you, but I feel like we've seen you grow up this season, kind of right before our eyes. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel that way. I mean, if you think that, then I guess so. But yeah, it's been a great year for me personally. Just to kind of overcome everything I've been through and to finally break through in the major leagues is it's all I ever dreamed of and all I ever hoped for. So I'm really blessed.
Joey, congratulations, buddy. Enjoy.
So much. Thank you.
Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Right on. Thank you, Emily. And indeed, he has grown up this year, and he has been awesome. Well, Dana Larson and Mark McLemore are going to be back. I don't know what they'll talk about. Maybe something about Joey Gallo. We'll also have some other player reaction and analysis for this one. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage continues right after this.